set to go, and another sellout crowd at Lincoln, Nebraska. Chris Drennan, number 16, the sophomore out of Cypress, California, will kick it off to Sterling Sharp and Hardin Brown. Nebraska won the toss. They declined. Brown, 3 yards deep, can't get the handle, and they'll down it back there. And South Carolina's run and shoot offense will start from its own 20, led by the super sophomore Todd Ellis. The question is, will he throw interceptions or touchdowns today? Harold Green, the lone running back, the sophomore out of Ladson, and he's a good one. Kevin White and Sharp are the wingbacks. Sharp, just a great All-American candidate. Danny Smith and Ryan Bethea, the wide receivers, as they go with 4 wideouts at all times. The tackles, Poinsett and Fryer, are their best offensive linemen, with Charlie Gowan, one of the guards, out. That means Shivers splits over, and Calvin Stevens moves up. And they'll go with the running game on the first play. And this is quarterback Todd Ellis on the option out to the 34-yard line. So South Carolina crosses him up to start with. All-conference Broderick Thomas at one end, Jeff Jamrog at the other. Lawrence Pete trying to replace Danny Noonan, the all-everything nose tackle. Rother has been a star so far at tackle. The linebackers, ADN and Forch. The corners are going to get a big test today, as well as will the rest of the secondary. There's a first down on Ellis's 14-yard scramble, and he wants to throw his first pass. Dumps it off for Sharp, and Sharp picked up maybe 3 before he's driven back. Rest of the Nebraska defense, the corners, Hicks and Fryer, 8 and 10. Tomchak and Blazek are the safeties, 11 and 23 respectively. It's second down and 7 yards to go as they give him the forward progress on the play. And Ellis has really thrown up some amazing statistics. Green remaining back quickly out to White on the little dump pass over the line, and that's what the run and shoot can do for you as they reach the 47-yard line.
What they did that time, they put a man in motion. They left the receiver wide open. White, number 6, and 23, Blazek had to come up. Now, what they did at the beginning, at the very beginning, they ran an option play, and I'm sure the Nebraska never expected that, and it kind of got them off balance right now.
First and 10, South Carolina, the Gamecocks at their own 47. They'll go on the option again and pitch it back to Sharp, and Sharp just shy of midfield. Forch over there on the tackle, number 38, and the play being chased by Neil Smith, number 99, the senior out of New Orleans, Louisiana.
You might wonder why they like to run an option play against a team like Nebraska and risk number 9, Ellis. They're doing that so that the defensive secondary has to come up and play the run so they can throw it over their head for a touchdown.
Second down, 7 yards to go. South Carolina with the opening possession of the ball game. That was White in motion. Quickly to Sharp. He's very dangerous after he catches the ball. He'll pick up about 5 this time. Swarmed under in a hurry as the Nebraska defense got there. What do you do as a coach to defense passes that take a one-step drop?
What you do is you have to play man for man and get up real close to him. Nebraska's afraid to do that, Mike, because what they'll do is they'll beat him long on a touchdown. Nebraska is not famous for man defense, and right now South Carolina is hitting them in the seams and doing a beautiful job of it.
You think this defensive secondary got any sleep this week? Third down, 3 yards to go. Ellis with plenty of time throws, intercepted. It's picked off by Steve Forch, the linebacker. He had one last week. It was his first career interception, and he gets this one.
Well, Tom Osborne's real happy that happened. Now watch number 38, Steve Forch, come out of the right-hand side of your picture. Ellis did not see him. That's why the interception was there. That was a good kickoff play by number 38, Steve Forch.
Nebraska's first turnover of the ball game. They have it with 12:15 to go from their own 42-yard line. Taylor, the quarterback, he wants to throw on first down. Rifles it near side, complete to Smith into South Carolina territory. And there is the dangerous Steve Taylor out of Fresno. He can run and he can pass and beat you both ways. Keith Jones, the I-back. Micah Heibel, primarily a blocker at fullback. The receivers, Banderas is a fine tight end. Henley Hawkins is starting in place of Dana Brinson at the wingback position. Bob Sledge and Leitner are the tackles. A young offensive line, but very good. McCormick, the only returning starter in there for Nebraska. Gain of 9 on the last play. 2nd and 1. They go with Micah Heibold right up the middle, inside the 40 to about the 39-yard line. Scott Windsor makes the tackle. He's one of the defensive ends along with Kevin Hendricks. The middle is really the strength of the South Carolina defense. Roy Hart has had an outstanding year so far, number 2 in tackles. The linebacking, they're hurt with Derek Little out. He didn't even make the trip. He's replaced by Patrick Hinton, normally a backup defensive end. The corners, Robinson and Floyd, and the safeties, Greg Philpott and Brad Edwards. They're just about the best around. Heibel again as Taylor sees a gap and gives it to him inside the 35-yard line. And there are the safeties, Philpott and Edwards, 1 and 4 on the tackle chart this year. Very strong against the run, and South Carolina with that 50 defense, very, very aggressive. It'll be 2nd down, call it 3. And the Nebraska defense getting some quick lessons on the sideline. Jones cuts it back. Hit by Hinton, number 46, and brought down. Jones averaging 93.6 yards a game this year. He did not play well against UCLA 2 weeks ago, then responded against Arizona State.
You notice a nice balance by Nebraska. They hit you to the outside, they come to the middle, they get to the fullback, they throw a quick outside cut. That's the key to their offensive attack.
1st and 10. Big Red at the South Carolina 29. Taylor, who has emerged as the legitimate Heisman candidate. And look at the middle wide open, the way they have their defense set with the linebackers in the gaps. And Taylor wants to throw, throws the quick out, and throws it complete to Von Shepard. Shepard is quite a story at a wingback. He was a star as a sophomore. They thought he'd be one of the greatest players they had here. Then last year he broke his leg, came back after 6 weeks, then tore up a knee in a bowl game. They didn't expect him back for a full year, but Von Shepard is back way ahead of schedule. And he's playing at 8 because Dana Brinson, their star, is out because of academics. Coach Osborne benched him because he wasn't going to school. That shows you what kind of man that guy is right there. It is 2nd down, 6 yards to go. They'll give Shepard 4 yards on the last completion from Taylor, who is 2 for 2. Taylor keeps it to Jones on the option with room to run. Jones inside the 10-yard line, pushed out of bounds at the 6 by Brad Edwards, the free safety. And Nebraska runs that option so well, especially with Taylor being so dangerous and then Jones being the same thing. As on the replay, you're going to watch a great block by number 43 right there, Todd Milliken. Watch him get a block at the bottom of your picture right there. And there goes Jones down the sideline. The reason why that option works so good, they go inside. They think inside, come outside. That's what's making them a great team. 19-yard carry, 1st and goal, Nebraska. Taylor bumped. Couldn't get the exchange off, and he's going to lose 4 yards. The first man in the backfield was number 46, Patrick Hinton, the freshman out of Atlanta, who's starting for Derek Little. What they do on the goal line defense is try to penetrate. Now, if you look, the man will penetrate right there and disrupt the option play. But Taylor has got the presence to keep the football. Anytime you get a play like that, Mike, what you do is say, forget it. Congratulations, good play to you guys. We're going to have it now. 2nd and goal now from the 10-yard line. Taylor, a little play action with a roll. He wants to throw, has a man open, but overthrew him at the sideline. Intended for Rod Smith. And Taylor made sure that one wasn't picked off. 2 out of 3. It brings up a 3rd and 10 for Tom Osborne. What a record. 140 wins, 32 losses, and 2 ties. And he's done it with integrity. Yes, there's a difference between excellence and excellence with integrity. 3rd down and goal from the 10. Only one wide receiver. And Taylor looks for him, hit just as he throws. Taylor hit from behind by Scott Windsor, number 20, who was coming from the outside. Taylor never saw him, and the pass intended for Morgan Gregory was way overthrown.
There was one of those blitzes we talked about at the beginning of the game. Now watch this guy come out, number 20, from the outside. Windsor. There the wind is kicking. He's kicking with the wind. Shouldn't have any effect.
Chris Drennan will try his first field goal attempt of the year. Last week he lined up for one, but it was a fake out of the hold of Cleet Bakeman. And they threw a screen pass off it and set up a touchdown. The left-footed soccer-style effort is good. And Nebraska jumps on top of South Carolina 3-0. Hey, on ESPN is being brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by Castrol, the motor oil engineered for today's smaller cars. 3-0 Nebraska, as we're 8 minutes and 37 seconds into the second quarter of play here in Lincoln. And really, I think South Carolina may have gotten a lift out of that, the fact that they didn't get a touchdown out of that drive after the interception. The Gamecocks will start from their own 20 as Chris Drennan puts this one deep in the end zone again. There's Todd Ellis, who on that first drive was 3 out of 4 for 17 yards, but then he threw the interception. And that has been the problem for Ellis. That's the 9th interception he has thrown this year already.
When you throw the ball as much as that young man does, you got to have some interceptions, but that cannot bother you. You got to keep on smoking.
Came into this game with only 3 touchdown passes. We'll see what South Carolina can do on its second possession. 4-man rush. He has plenty of time. Throws, and it's incomplete. Short, intended for Sterling Sharp out at the 31. He was being covered by Charles Fryer, cousin of the former Gamecock or former Cornhusker All-American.
Tim Roth, the number 78, puts a lot of pressure. And number 2, Sharp, will go in motion, and he's out wide open down the sideline and stops, but he doesn't have enough time. The best way to stop a passer like Ellis is to knock him down, and that's exactly what Nebraska did that time.
Tim Rother, number 78, the guy they count on to apply pressure. He's the right tackle with 6 sacks. He leads the Big 8 conference in that department. Ellis under a little bit of pressure that time, throws, and the ball was caught, I believe. The official is going to mark it down there, picked off by Jones Andrews, and he had it lying on his back and then came up, and the ball appeared to pop loose afterward.
Well, remember,
and the Nebraska people, of course, don't want it to be a completion.
Remember, he's got to control the football, and then
take a look and see if we can tell.
Now, on the mat, run and shoot. You notice the defensive secondaries let everybody in front of him, keeping him in front of him. He throws a nice shot to Andrews, number 17, who does control the ball before it's loose. Good call by the officials that time. They were in good position to call that one. That's why it was a good call.
You think Nebraska's playing too deep?
No, they've got to play. They got to let him keep him in front of him and just knock him down and knock the ball loose.
First down. Ellis on the option, but caught from behind. He never had a chance as Broderick Thomas, the all-Big 8 defensive end, just ran him down. They've been trying to run away from Thomas this year, so his stats aren't the greatest, but he can play.
Well, that's why they ran away from him this time, but watch. The fake just gives him a chance. Thomas, number 89, who is 10 pounds heavier. They think he should play at 235. He's about 245 right now, but he didn't look like he was too heavy on that one, did he?
He chased Ellis down and caught him at the line of scrimmage, so it's 2nd and 10 for South Carolina. 4-man rush, little pressure. They dump it over the middle, and Green gets away from one tackler across the 40, very close to the 42, and that's where he had to get for the first down. Brought down by Leroy Etienne out of New Iberia, Louisiana. And Green is a very dangerous runner once he gets the ball. They don't throw to him that much. 9 receptions in this, the 4th game of the season.
They did a smart thing that time, South Carolina did. They sent all the receivers down deep, and they isolated Green in the middle on number 38, Forch. And it worked out to be a good play for him.
3rd and 1, normally a running down for most teams. For South Carolina, you don't know. Ellis on the quarterback keeper, and he has the first down. Neil Smith, number 99, on top of the pile. Lee, is it a question that of of linemen pass blocking so much all the time in an offense like this that they don't have enough practice time on run blocking?
No, what happens is they don't have a formation where they have a lead blocker. All short yardage teams have one guy to absorb the linebacker first, and then they run the fullback behind him. There's Tom Osborne checking his offense just in case. Tom Osborne works as his own offensive coordinator. He leaves the defense completely up to Charlie McBride, who's the defensive coordinator.
Who has taken some heat this year, but as you pointed out when we started the show, they played UCLA and Arizona State. Those guys can get some points on anybody. It is a first down for South Carolina. Here comes the blitz. They don't do it very often, but they missed Ellis. And Ellis gets out of bounds to the 40-yard line. He'll lose 2, but he could have lost 10.
Boy, you want to watch a linebacker blitz. Watch number 47, Etienne, right there. Etienne comes right in through the top of your picture right there. He runs right over number 68, Stevens, and puts the pressure on the Ellis, number 9. But watch this right there, number 47, Etienne, runs over 68, Stevens, and it's a good thing that Ellis is an athlete, or he'd have been sacked for at least a 10-yard loss.
Stevens moved up as a starter at right guard, so Paul Shivers could move over to left guard in place of the injured Charlie Gowan. Ellis moving those feet in the pocket and threw that one too high. It was intended for number 17, Jones Andrews.
The offensive line,
plant those feet.
Yeah, the offensive line has given them a good pass protection so far, and they're putting a lot of pressure on, but they're only coming with 3 men. Now they come with Ford Thomas, but they've all got good football position. 57 Myers does a nice job on 96 Pete in the middle, which gives the quarterback a lane to throw the ball in the middle.
We'll keep you updated on Ellis' stats. He is 5 out of 8 for 38 yards, and he faces 3rd and 13 right here. White in motion. Another blitz, and they'll quickly go back to the other side to Andrews, and Andrews wrapped up after a gain of about 3 yards, and that did not fool the Nebraska defense. Broderick Thomas was right there to make the tackle, and that looked like a very good play. It just didn't get him anything.
Against 80% of the teams in the nation, that would have been a great play. But against Broderick Thomas, a 2-yard gain.
Rod Smith and Morgan Gregory are deep to receive the punt of Rodney Price. This is the best punt return team in the nation. And they'll have to take a fair catch on this one at the 25-yard line after a 32-yard kick. It's 3-0 Nebraska. Just part of the sellout crowd here of 73,650. I really think it's incredible that they've sold this place out since 1962.
They got some great South Carolina fans. I've had dinner 2 nights with them. They're all over this place. There must be 80,000 South Carolina people here. Or they act like 80,000.
4,000, but the rest are Nebraska fans, no doubt. They'll give it to Heibel. That's the 3rd time he's been able to carry up the middle across the 30 to about the 32-yard line. Hinton brought him down again, along with Matt McKernan.
You might be wondering why Heibel is running the ball in the middle so much. The weakness of the South Carolina defense is when they blitz, if you can split them, you go all the way for a touchdown or a long game, and that's what Nebraska's doing. They're running high ball number 48 in the middle just for bait to fake that ball and come outside with Jones.
He's carried 3 times for 23 yards. There you see the Florida State score, and Auburn had to come from behind to beat North Carolina. Taylor on the pitch to Jones. Jones hit as he got to the 35-yard line. Tommy Chaikin, number 94, the first man in on the stop out of Bethesda, Maryland. He's a senior. This will bring up a 3rd and about a yard to go for the Huskers, and now they're going to measure it. And the sideline markers are about a half a yard shy. Nebraska is one of those teams that has proven itself to be, as you look at Joe Morrison on the sideline, who's going to try to stop this Nebraska offense, a tremendously balanced offense. When Taylor showed against UCLA with 5 touchdown passes that he could throw the ball that well, I imagine everybody else on the schedule just gasped a little bit, even Oklahoma. 3rd yard. Quarterback keeper. Taylor with 2nd effort appears to have it across the 36-yard line.
Most teams like to run a quarterback sneak with less than 1 yard. Now watch the offensive line charge out. 65 Keeler gets a good block on 54 Hart. It's first down, Nebraska.
Nebraska offensive line, you were telling me earlier, you think it's one of the best in the country, and they've only got one returning starter from a year ago. They just reload here, don't they?
They got a machine over there, and they just boop, boop. They keep stamping them out one after the other.
And they all come out about 270, too. Jones is in motion as they go to the full house backfield and give it to Von Shepard. Got some room to run, and Shepard's got a first down to his own 49-yard line. Big block out there by the guy with a perfect name for a lineman, Bob Sledge.
Sledge, number 62. 62 Sledge and 65 Keeler come back down and pull and do a good job. 43 Milliken blocks down the line of scrimmage and blocks the first different colored jersey that shows number 54 Hart. But the key to that play was Sledge, 62 and 65 right there. Sledge, 62, is a transfer from the University of South Dakota and makes a nice block right there.
He said we're 2-0 against the Pac-10 after beating UCLA and Arizona State. He said I wouldn't mind going to the Rose Bowl.
Ball carried by Taylor.
To midfield, Taylor dragged down over there. Number 46 is Patrick Hinton, the freshman out of Atlanta, who is in at a starting linebacker spot in place of Derek Little, who did not even make the trip. He has a deep knee bruise. He was just an outstanding player for them, especially in the big games. Consider Clemson a year ago. He had 22 tackles in that game against Clemson, but he's not here. Presumably back in Columbia listening or watching to this one. 2nd and 8. Taylor had a little trouble with the snap, the delay to Jones. Jones gets down to the South Carolina, make it the 47-yard line. Scott Windsor, number 20, had him around the ankles. Jones said at that game at Arizona State last week that there was just nothing left at the end of that 62-yard run. He said his legs had just had it. Of course, a wilting heat out there, even at a night game. 3rd and 5. Nebraska wants to keep rolling, and South Carolina needs to show that they can stop it. Taylor throwing near side, almost picked off, but caught by Smith. And Smith down inside the 20. The Gamecock secondary gambled that time and lost.
Boy, he did a gamble on it. On a replay, you're going to watch 62 Sledge make a good block. Now watch, he sets up real good position. He blocks Fraser 90 into the inside, gives the quarterback Taylor enough time to throw the football. He throws it nice off his front foot. Smith, number 88, makes a good catch because number 29 Floyd went for the interception. I don't question that interception try. That's the way you got to play if you're going to beat Nebraska.
It's a first down. Cornhuskers at the South Carolina 18. The second time here in the first quarter they've been deep in Gamecock territory. Taylor on the option. Oh, what a big tackle that time by Greg Philpott, the strong safety who was playing right up on the line of scrimmage.
You wonder what the strong safety's doing up there, but it's on the 17-yard line. Why defend? Philpott right there is 5'11", 190 from Largo, Florida. The thing I liked about him that time is he kept his balance and reached out and just got anything of Taylor and knocked him down.
The ball is on the 19-yard line.
Call it a loss of a yard. And 2nd and 11. Now this is the position Nebraska was in last time, had to throw the ball, and they couldn't get it in, having to settle for a field goal. Taylor stumbles coming out of there, gives to Jones under the leg. Jones.
Keeler 65, Sled 62, Young 68 are all playing well up front. Now this is an automatic because they're blitzing from the outside. Watch the top of your picture. You see all the men coming to the outside. 68 Young gets a good block. 65 Keeler gets a good block, and Jones has got enough speed to slip it in there. That's the 3rd time they've run that same play against the outside blitz. And Tom Osborne wants a timeout right now.
He wants to talk about it with 1:03 to go in the quarter. It's Nebraska by 3.
Carroll's problems continue against Texas Tech with the score tied at 14. Scott Tolvin finds Irvin Parrish that broke the tie. The story of the day, Texas Tech upsets Texas A&M 27-21. That's the 4th time a Sherrill coach team has lost to the Red Raiders. Back to Mike and Lee.
1:03 to go in the first quarter. Mike Patrick and Lee Corso with you from Lincoln, Nebraska, where 2nd-ranked and undefeated Nebraska is leading South Carolina 3-0. And they have the ball now 3rd and 5 at the Gamecock 14-yard line. Taylor, 3 out of 5, 41 yards passing so far. And they'll go to Heibel on the run, and Heibel dives forward very near the first down. May have crossed up the Gamecocks a little on that as Roy Hart, number 54, makes the tackle.
Wasn't that a great call? Everybody, including you and I, thought if they're either going to the outside or they're going to run some kind of an option, and he gives the ball to Heibel right in the middle. The reason why he got that ball, it was a read option. In other words, South Carolina gave him that play, and that's what Taylor really can beat you on. He beats you not only with his ability to run and throw, but to think.
This measurement could be extremely close. Shows you how good I am in measurements. Headed by more than the length of a football. It's 1st and goal, Nebraska. The second time they've been down here.
Now, the last time South Carolina stopped them by coming with an all-out blitz. Now, Tom Osborne knows that. You might see a different selection of plays here to work against the South Carolina blitz.
It's always interesting to see what the play call is after a timeout, and that was certainly a good one. Taylor with a fake, running the option. Flag is down as Taylor gets to the 4-yard line. Flag is down back at the line of scrimmage, and we'll check the penalty call for you. First flag we've had today. And it's a hold. Break for South Carolina there as Taylor had gotten down to the 4-yard line on that 1st down and goal play.
10-yard penalty against the offense.
So now it's 1st and goal. The ball moved back to the 18-yard line. Joe Morrison can breathe a little bit there. Derek Frazier, number 90, checks in at one of the interior line positions for South Carolina. Taylor brings them out. Crowd trying to get excited about it. Like Taylor changed the play at the line of scrimmage and wanted to throw to the near side. Throws incomplete. That ball bounced in there, intended for Morgan Gregory, number 19, and good coverage that time by Norman Floyd.
You're absolutely right. What he did, he saw one-on-one coverage out there, and what he did is he called some color number. Gregory, 19, was isolated on 29, Floyd, and he ran a nice little outcut. This is a situation where Nebraska's been famous to come up with a trick play, a guard around or a reverse or something like that. They've always got something in their arsenal that for this kind of a situation.
And when Nebraska does it, it's devastating because they're so strong and you're so used to getting beaten up, and then they do something fancy like that. 2nd and goal from the 18-yard line. Nothing fancy here. Draw to Jones. And Jones gets down to about the 12-yard line. Matt McKernan, number 48, was in on the stop. The junior out of Daytona Beach, Florida. That's the end of the quarter. It's 3-0 Huskers. That's the opener of the National Hockey League season, Thursday night, 7:30. 70 degrees in Nebraska. It's hard to think about hockey, isn't it?
Can you believe that hockey season is starting already?
I sometimes have trouble thinking football season started already. 3rd down and goal, Nebraska from the South Carolina 12. Big play for both ball clubs right here. Taylor with all day to throw. Throws. Intercepted. That was picked off in the end zone. Now they'll mark it at the 1. South Carolina turns into big play. Robert Robinson stepped in front of the intended receiver and saved the touchdown.
Okay, it's a little boot action play. It's one of those trick plays we talked about. Taylor throws it. He's got Milliken, number 43, wide open at the time. But, oh, what a nice play by Robinson, number 36, comes in. It's on the first. It's one. Now, watch. That was a good play because Robinson just played inside of him, and they made the move. The ball was thrown a little bit behind Todd Milliken. If it had been thrown in front of him, I think he would have had a touchdown on that one.
Well, South Carolina couldn't start in any tougher position. They're at their own 1. And Ellis out of his own end zone to throw. Throws to Bethea. Ball tipped in the air. Oh, what a dangerous one that was. He threw that ball all the way across the field. Then it was tipped. That was anybody's football.
And it was fluttering. It was fluttering. All of a sudden, that thing's picked off and it's gone. I tell you what, I question that call right here, Mike, for one reason. If you're going to throw the ball down here, you throw it long. You try to get a big one because the defensive backs have a tendency to play for the pickoff.
Saw some of the scores coming across. Syracuse having a tough time with Missouri. 2nd and 10 from their own 1 for South Carolina. Ellis doesn't care where he is. Back to throw again. This one incomplete at the 14. Intended for Danny Smith. The senior Charles Fryer was there, but Ellis just underthrew it.
He underthrew it because number 78, Tim Rother, just comes over and knocks him down. That's called a scare. Watch number 78 does a little twist to the outside. He's coming after him at 6'6", 265, and this is what it looks like when you're coming at. The scholarship's not worth it. Right there, watch. Woo!
Ellis 6 out of 11, 41 yards, 3rd down and 10. Back to throw again. Dumps off the screen to Green, and he dropped it. And right there, anyhow, was Broderick Thomas. If he makes the catch, something more dangerous might have happened. And now they'll have to punt it away, and the Nebraska crowd gives the defense a standing ovation.
And that might be something more dangerous. For them to punt the ball from here means that the men have to protect first before they can cover, which means that Nebraska will have a chance to run it back.
And Rod Smith doesn't need any help. He's averaging 27.8 yards a kick return. But he's not even number 1 on the team. Dana Brinson averages 29. Brinson not playing the rush, and they got it out of there, barely. And they kicked it out of bounds. So South Carolina just in a whole lot of trouble as we enter the 2nd quarter in Lincoln. It's Nebraska with a lot of offense so far, but only 3 points. Taylor has passed for 47 yards. Jones has rushed for 39. Heibel for 29. They've had field position advantage, and they have the ball now after a 33-yard kick at the South Carolina 34, but the Gamecock defense is hanging in there. Gives it off to Tyrese Knox into the ballgame for the first time, and Knox inside the 30 to the 29-yard line. Run out of bounds over there by Robinson. Knox is a junior out of Daly City, California.
And he's got that big 62 sledge pulling on. The reason they do that is they pull that big tackle. Watch the top of your picture. 62 sledge and 65 Keeler were blocked. It's a reverse action play that they love because they get the team to go one way with the tailback and come back the other way. Knox made a good play there.
Brian Carpenter, number 29, is in at fullback on 2nd and 4. Carpenter, got a couple.
Ball carried by Carpenter.
Kurt Wilson, number 92, and number 91, Ricky Daniels, in on the tackle for South Carolina. Roy Hart, the nose guard, also got a piece of it. And it's going to be 3rd. They'll call it 3 from the South Carolina 27. You'd think by now the South Carolina defense getting a little bit tired. They've been on the field the whole game.
This is a big play because psychologically right now they're still in this ball game.
3rd and 3. Full house backfield. Shepard motion, whistle. Don't think they got it off in time, and if that's the case, it'll cost them 5. Keep in mind that even though South Carolina has played only one major opponent, and here's the call.
Good ball. Offsides on the defense.
Now, you're going to have to tell me, I see this call all the time in college football, how you can be offsides before the snap of the ball if you don't touch anybody.
Well, because they call, he probably touched somebody. I think it was the nose man. Let me tell you why that happens. The defensive team wants to play so hard and get across there, they have a tendency to listen instead of watch. If they watch the offensive line, they can only move when they do, instead of listening to the quarterback sound.
So it's a 1st down for Nebraska. Taylor keeps now, wants to throw, and overthrows Milliken in the end zone. Covered very, very well. Edwards was back there all over him, and there is a flag down at the 23-yard line in the area where you usually see holding. And it is.
They're doing a lot of boot action, which means they'll start one way and roll out the other way. 68 comes out of there. That's Jake Young, the center. He's not setting his feet. He doesn't look like to me that he's confident on what he's doing yet. I mean, for some reason. Now, I saw him in the dressing room yesterday, and he had a big ice pack on his left shoulder. It shouldn't bother his throwing, but I tell you what, it looks like it's bothering his overall play.
They'll march it back to the 32-yard line, so another break in the penalty department for South Carolina. And it's hard to believe, if you had just seen selected plays in this game, that Nebraska is only up 3-0 with 13:31 to go in the first half. South Carolina has not moved the ball very well, but their defense, although they've given up some yards, has played exceptional football. Taylor now on 1st and 20 brings them in. Knox on the delay. Nothing doing. Hart knocked him down at the line of scrimmage. And Hart has been the star on that defensive line for South Carolina. He was their 86th Defensive Player of the Year.
He's also 6 foot 272. He's married and has a daughter, and he's from Tifton, Georgia. The thing he does real well is he has a low center of gravity and low center of base, and he moves real quick, and they can't seem to get a clean shot at him.
I think it's the toughest position in football, don't you?
Like I said, some pros will not play it. They put it in a contract. Forget it.
2nd and 21. Taylor, here comes the blitz. And they got him. Flag is there. Maybe a face mask. And Patrick Hinton, the man who will get credit for the sack, may have been the guy who got the face mask penalty on top of it. And the Gamecocks are not happy as Kurt Wilson, number 92, will go off the field.
The 5-yard face mask against the defense. 5-yard penalty.
46 Hinton. They're coming hard from the outside. You notice they're always coming from the outside. That's because Nebraska, right there, 46 puts his hand on him. But if it was a really what they call a dangerous face mask, it would have been a 15-yard penalty, but only a 5-yard penalty.
He let go.
That's right.
That's the reason it wasn't 15. But it's a big play because they avoid about a 10-yard sack and pick up 5 positive yards. So they have the ball back at the South Carolina 28. We're at 2nd and 16. And we have had more flags than offense in the last 5 minutes. Fake to Carpenter, the fullback. He's hit again, and the ball flutters out of there, incomplete. Oh, did South Carolina really come after him? Philpott 25 and Scott Windsor 20 were all over Steve Taylor.
They made him a sandwich. He looked like a hot dog between 2 pieces of bread. Watch him, number 20 coming. Now he makes a little fake. He turns around. 20 Windsor hits him before he knows what's happened. 25 is Philpott. That's a defensive back coming in. So you can see what's happening. Nebraska is frustrated because this blitz has given them a lot more trouble than they thought. But remember, if you live by the sword, you can die by the sword. So watch for a big play by Nebraska.
3rd and 16. That aggressive South Carolina defense is giving the Cornhuskers some problems. There's a timeout. We'll be back in a minute. CFA football is brought to you by Jeep. There's a feeling you can get only in a Jeep. And by Yashica. They put a new focus on photography with a new 230 AF autofocus. Quite a ball game here so far. 2nd quarter, 2:12 to go, or 2:20 to go, excuse me. Nebraska 3, South Carolina nothing. We didn't expect a defensive battle, but we have one. And Nebraska facing a 3rd and 16. Taylor fakes the draw. Blitz. He has time, and now he's sacked back at the 36. Holy cow, the South Carolina defense won't quit. Brendan McCormick, number 95.
He tried to go long that time to number 88, Smith. They had really good coverage on him by number 36, Robinson, and number 27. Now watch, he gets good protection. All of a sudden, number 42 puts the pressure on him. From the outside, that's Diggs, and he gets trapped. That sack was caused, ladies and gentlemen, by number 27, Edwards, and number 36, Robinson, because they had good coverage on the man deep, number 88, Smith.
And at 50 defense, those guys in the secondary very often left alone man-to-man coverage. They've done a heck of a job. So now the ball's back at the 36, and Tom Osborne wants another timeout. This one will be his 3rd of the first half. This looks like it was called by his kids on the field. They may have only had 10 men out there.
And they wanted to kick a field goal, but the field goal team was not out there. Now he's talking to number 87 there, Banderas, to find out, where were you, Banderas? Where were you?
Miss it tomorrow. The defending champion is Darrell Waltrip. He seems to be the defending champion of every stock car race there is. 4th and 23 for Nebraska. Quite a stand here for South Carolina on defense. And nothing like college football, is it? And now they're going to punt it away. That's John Croker, the punter, on.
And South Carolina doesn't have anybody back there because they don't want to make a mistake. They'll let the ball hit and go into the end zone instead of making a mistake. Now, the reason they're not going for a field goal here is because the wind is in their face and they don't want to take a chance.
And they will take a delay to move the ball back 5 yards to the 40 to give Croker a little more room to work with.
Yeah, but South Carolina can refuse this penalty and not give them the 5 yards. They'll do that. Watch.
So how many times could you delay? You could stand here all afternoon, right? Take the penalty. They decline to take the penalty.
No, you can't do it. You can only do it once.
And they move the ball back to the 40. So South Carolina did not even go through the exercise. Now they'll drop a short man, but no one deep. Brad Edwards will go back, but he's standing at the 23-yard line. The South Carolina's defense deserves all the credit in the world, and Croker got up a poor kick off the side of his foot, bounces at the 20, and we'll go back to the 24-yard line where Nebraska knocks it down, and the South Carolina defense, from the 4,000 people who are here from South Carolina, gets a great hand.
Well, that was an absolutely horrendous kick, and the reason was because he tried to place it instead of kicking it. Watch, it'll get off the side of his right foot on the side of his foot. He drops it, and it comes off the right side. And the reason is because he was trying to hit it to the coffin corner. He ought to just punt the thing and let nature take its way.
So South Carolina comes out, and they have it 1st and 10 at their own 24-yard line, down only 3-0, and this explosive offense has a chance to go to work. Ellis has not been terribly successful so far, 6 out of 12, but only 41 yards and 1 interception. Green on the carry. He'll get a couple up to the 26.
Ball carried by 22, Harold Green.
And off the bottom of the pile, number 99, Neil Smith, and Lawrence Pete, number 96, the nose guard. South Carolina would like to establish something on the ground. Green is averaging almost 91 yards a game rushing. But their offense is to run and shoot with those 4 wideouts. If you were with us earlier, you saw them throwing from their own 1-yard line 3 times. 2nd and 8. Fake to Green. Ellis under pressure. Rother hits him from behind. South Carolina recovers the fumble. The ball bounced right to Calvin Stevens, the right guard. Rother came in and just flattened him from the blind side. His 7th sack of the year. There is a flag down at the line of scrimmage. We'll check it for you.
Fumble on the play recovered by number 68, Calvin Stevens.
Got illegal motion against the offense. Decline.
Rother, 78, as you said, is leading the Big 8 in sacks. He's such a big, strong guy. He just beats number 72, Poinsett, to the left of your picture. He can't cover him. Number 71, Shivers, is getting beat by him. It's just a physical mismatch, and a good play there by number 78, Rother. Now, let me ask you one thing. We haven't seen a draw yet. They got to run more draws to keep those linemen from rushing the passer.
3rd and 18, and the crowd urging on the Nebraska defense. 4-man rush. Ellis with time. Throws incomplete. Big play back there by Mark Blazek, number 23. He broke it up. The pass was on target for Danny Smith, but Blazek, the junior out of Valparaiso, Nebraska, really gave him a shot.
Number 41 comes across from your left side of your picture. Blazek makes a good play because he strips the ball. Smith had it, but Blazek knocks it off. He's got a 3.9 grade point average. An outstanding student also, Blazek.
Rodney Price on the punt. Low line drive, and it's taken by Smith. Smith breaks a tackle. Look out for this guy. Back to the South Carolina 31. Coming into the game, he was the defending NCAA punt return champion. This time he got 19.
Carolina kicker is kicking with the wind, but he gets a low kick, which is very, very dangerous when number 88 Smith gets it. Now watch, number 19 will get a good block. Gregory right here, and then all of a sudden now every great runner breaks a tackle on punt returns. Smith broke the tackle there and went all the way down the field for a good punt return.
South Carolina's defense has spent the entire first half backed up on their own end of the field, but they've only given up 3 points. Taylor with a long signal count. Gives it back to Knox, and Knox is hit by Hart as he picked up maybe a half a yard. Also in there, Scott Windsor, number 20. Can't say enough about these Gamecock defensive players.
And what they're doing really is confusing the Nebraska game plan by putting so many men up there. They're taking a calculated risk. But it looks like to me it's like a fight where one guy gets knocked down, he's still coming up. Nebraska's got the ball, but no points, and psychologically and everything else, South Carolina is winning this ball game.
Second down, 9 yards to go, Nebraska. Taylor, play fake, under some pressure, throws near sideline and way off target, intended for Von Shepard. Covered out there by Norman Floyd, number 29.
Immediately is obvious in the South Carolina game plan, 42 Diggs, 25 Philpott. All the people from the outside are getting into the face of Steve Taylor. And they've got him, and like it or not, they got him intimidated to where he's not throwing the ball straight. And that's going on a great football player. Even that can happen to a guy like Taylor.
Taylor had been hitting 47% of his passes coming in, is only 3 out of 9 for 41 yards in this game. And he has a 3rd and 9 right here. Here comes the blitz. Throws it over the middle, and it's picked off. Intercepted by Greg Philpott, the strong safety. The pass was intended for Todd Milliken and badly overthrown. And South Carolina holds again.
By number 25, Philpott.
Watch number 46, Hinton. He's putting a lot of pressure on Taylor, who throws the ball off his back foot, throws the ball over Banderas' head, and I'll tell you what, unless they get to establishing the running game, Nebraska's going to have a tough time beating South Carolina today.
On the other hand, South Carolina has to find a way to move the ball. They haven't done it yet. 3-0. Ellis, delay to Green. He's got a little room, almost ran into the official and got back to the line of scrimmage, maybe gained a yard. Steve Forch, the first Nebraska player to him, but it was a guy in a striped shirt that slowed him down.
That's all right. It was a draw play. Even if it doesn't work, it gets those defensive linemen to slow it up. It slowed him up. Now what happens is they'll use the quarterback as bait. He goes back, says, I'm going to throw it. All of a sudden he slips it to number 22 Green, who slips down, but at least it keeps those linemen from rushing the passer so fast.
2nd and 9. Here comes the pressure on Ellis. He throws near side, and this one's complete. Got it out there to Bethea, and they will mark it good enough for a first down. Lorenzo Hicks out of Kansas City on the tackle, but it will be a first down South Carolina with 8:25 to go in the first half.
Bethea drives him, hits deep, drives him deep, and comes back on a little curl hook. He catches the ball, boom. Up comes Hicks and makes a good tackle. Let me tell you, Bethea was a prep All-American from Columbia, South Carolina. He's a good football player. And there goes Ellis down. But I tell you what, Ellis will take it. That's a first down. That's the kind of competitor he is.
It was John Marco, number 93, on the rush, and they got a good spot from the official. You could see on the replay, Bethea caught the ball shy of the first down, but they marked it in front of the sticks. Ellis to throw again. 4-man rush. Wants to go deep this time. Throwing for Bethea, and he made the catch. And then the flag goes down. We've got interference. The question will be, which way will it go? Hicks and Bethea. It appeared they were shoving each other, and it looked like Bethea had made a great catch. Preliminary signal is going to be against
pass interference against the defense.
On the top of the show, we talked about them practicing a lot of passes yesterday long. Now watch. Ellis sets his feet and lets it go, trying to hit Bethea deep over Hicks, number 8. Now watch Bethea, comes down, takes a little play, and goes deep, and it's one-on-one coverage with Hicks. Hicks gives him a little shot right here with his right hand, and that's a pass interference. Now remember, it's a 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down when it's a long play like that.
Instead of at the point of the foul all the way downfield.
Which it used to be, which was the most unfair rule in the history of football.
South Carolina with the ball in Nebraska territory at the 43. Here comes the blitz. Ellis on the roll. Throws quick for White, and he's got it. Even with a complete pass, they may lose a yard. John Marco over there, the defensive end, at the sideline. If you think this 3-0 score is a fluke, Last year at Columbia, South Carolina lost by only 3 points, and the ball had to be intercepted at the 10-yard line in the last few seconds to preserve that one.
It was the closest game they had all year, except the losses.
Yeah.
So South Carolina's got enough confidence. They think they can beat Nebraska, and right now there's no reason why they shouldn't think that way.
On that pass completion, they'll lose a yard, so it's 2nd and 11 for Ellis. And dropped that time right in the hands of Bethea. He had 3 guys around him, but Ellis threaded it in there. Hicks and ATN back on the coverage, and Bethea just didn't catch it.
Remember the hit that Hicks put on Bethea before? A lot of times when you send a receiver down and across in the middle, you can watch what happens. Now, Bethea comes to the inside. He makes a good fake to the outside, comes inside, is in good football position, should catch the football, but sometimes you hear the hoofs, which means watch out for number 8, watch out for number 38, Force. They're coming to get you.
There were a lot of hooves coming on that one, too. 3rd and 11 now for the Gamecocks. Ellis in trouble, and they've got him. And it's the all-star and Broderick Thomas and the nose guard, Lawrence Pete, with the sack back across midfield.
Broderick Thomas, number 89, did something you're not supposed to do there. You're never supposed to go inside of a blocker when he's going. Now, watch the top of your picture. He comes to the inside, gets away from 2 men, and makes the sack. Oh, what a great athletic play that was by number 89, Broderick Thomas.
So Price will have to punt it away, kicking with a slight wind. Got a beauty out of there this time. Smith, fair catch signal at the 16-yard line. And Nebraska's not going to know what to do starting from its own 16. We'll be back in a moment.
Is underway in Tallahassee with the score 19-3 late in the 3rd. Steve Walsh looks over the middle, finds Melvin Bratton, the running back, and he gets into the end zone. They go for 2 and convert. That made it 19-11. Mike Irvin just caught a touchdown pass from Walsh. It's 19-17 now. Back to Mike and Lee.
How about that game? Florida State by 2 over Miami. What a war that's got to be in Tallahassee. Got a war going on here, too. Jones back in at the I-back position. Driven out of bounds at the 25-yard line. Scott Windsor makes the tackle, but the defensive end had to make it 7 yards downfield.
That's more like Nebraska. That's more like Nebraska. Toss
back to the ground game.
Yeah, bang them. Let's roll up our sleeves and find out who's a better man. Nebraska's players or the South Carolina players. They were trying to trick South Carolina. Nebraska doesn't have to try to trick anybody.
Well, it wasn't working either. As a coach, do you get caught up in that kind of thing, going away from your strength and trying to attack their weakness?
Well, I've never had a great team like Nebraska, but I would think.
Well, not many people have.
Yeah, but my point is, I don't think you do that, and this is not Tom Osborne's style. I can't imagine what got into his mind of starting a ball game trying to trick South Carolina instead of just come out and bang them and see who's a better man. That's what he did to me here, and he blew me out every time.
Hey, if you had those players, you'd be down there instead of up here, you know?
No, I wouldn't. I'd be still in Florida.
Look at the rushing yard stat, 78 zip. Micah Heibel, the fullback. And he drags Tom Chaikin with him.
They got a young center, they got a young center, 68, Jake Young, that they think's probably the best young center. Now watch him snap the ball a half a second quicker. Now, you see that? They're the only football team in America that does that. The reason they do it is to give the center a chance to hit the blockers first. Number 2, they do it because they have a rhythm count and he can anticipate. It's a great thing. Coach Milt Tenderper told us about that yesterday. I've never seen an offensive line and a center do that as well as Nebraska.
And they've done it well for years. 2nd and 5, Cornhuskers. Clock ticking down, 6:43 to go first half. It's still 3-0 Nebraska. This time the fullback, Brian Carpenter, will carry. Not get much. And there's that strong safety, Greg Philpott, up on the line of scrimmage making the stop again.
Again, he's always up there. They're playing what they call an 8-man front line. That means they got all the linemen plus Philpott, 7 linemen, linebackers, and 1 strong safety up there. Total of 8 playing the run.
They'll measure for the first down. The ball spotted at about the 36-yard line. And it's short, so it'll bring up 3rd and inches. crowd's really been quiet in this ball game, except for a couple of defensive stands that Nebraska had when the ball was deep in South Carolina territory.
Well, at 6:33, it's only 3-0, and you would think Nebraska was losing this game because Nebraska fans came here with the idea they're going to blow out South Carolina, and it's not happening.
Well, they come with the idea they're going to blow out everybody. 3rd and inches. Jones, he didn't get there. He lost the yard. South Carolina rose up and got him. Matt McKernan, 48. Scott Windsor, 20. Hart, 54. They were all through there.
They went over the right guard, 61, John McCormick. As he comes off the ball, you watch, they double team, but Hart, that young guy, makes a good play and gets him in a second and everybody else is there. 48 is there. McKernan. That is nothing more than desire. They wanted it, South Carolina, more than the Nebraska team. Like it or not.
Croker, who got off that first one off the side of his foot, will kick to Sterling Sharp. Croker did not have good games in the first 2. Last week against Arizona State, he punted very well. Low line drive. Sharp's going to have a chance to return this one possibly, but he can't get to it on the bounce. And it takes the roll down to the 18-yard line. This the only game, by the way, that South Carolina will play on artificial turf this season. Still 3-0. Back in a moment. We're in Lincoln, Nebraska. 5:24 to go, second quarter. Nebraska 3, South Carolina nothing. The Gamecocks have the ball back once again, backed up in their own territory. They'll start this time from their own 18-yard line. Todd Ellis out of the run and shoot, 8 out of 16, but only 51 yards, and he threw that early interception. Green, the lone remaining back, and Green will get it on the delay. Trying to get outside. That's a fine effort from Green, and he gets it up to the 20. Let's check in with Tim Brando and an update on Miami and FSU.
Remember, Mike, we told you that they had scored 19-17 on a pass to Irvin. Well, they went for 2 again, and Warren Williams took it in to tie the game at 19-all. Florida State and Miami. More on that, as well as all other games, coming up at halftime.
19-19, fourth quarter. Boy, FSU must be tough because I think Miami's one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the country. Playing on Saturday or Sunday right now. Ellis with a pump fake. That's picked off. Intercepted by Brian Washington. When Ellis pumped, Washington came up, and Ellis threw it to the same receiver.
Right on the money, Mike. What happened is Ellis, now if you watch Ellis, he wants to throw the ball to the 3rd receiver downfield. He's covered. He throws late, and that gives Washington a chance to jump at it and get it. And he stumbles and steps out of bounds right there. It was a good interception by Washington, who was an All-American basketball player at Highland Springs, Virginia. He's quite an athlete.
His second interception of the year, the second interception of the day for Ellis. That's 10 on the season. Jones on the toss, and there's that South Carolina defense again. Well, these guys are incredible. Shed Diggs, number 42, made the stop in the backfield. Nebraska almost always scores when they get inside their opponent's 20, and South Carolina has done an unbelievable job of stopping them.
Because they're putting the pressure on, and where the pressure's coming from, both sides are coming hard from the outside and forcing Nebraska to go up the middle. It looks like Nebraska's going to have to fake something up the middle and go into the end zone for a touchdown.
They lost a yard on the last play. 2nd and 11, full house backfield. 82 Henry Hawkins is in there. Flag goes down, and he's going to be another 5-yard delay against Nebraska. And the fans are getting a little restless here at Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, as this South Carolina defense is really confusing the Nebraska offensive game plan.
And I'm surprised at that, because talking to Coach Osborne yesterday and talking to the offensive staff and looking at the films, South Carolina has done nothing different than they didn't do last week. But he's frustrated because what they're doing is putting so much pressure on Taylor, they've got him off rhythm. He'll come up with some ideas. He didn't win 140-some games not coming up with ideas.
You bet. 2nd and 16 now, and Taylor passing is only 3 for 10. He's had his problem. They'll keep it on the ground. Taylor on the option, and nowhere to go. Shed Diggs again. Came from the backside and made the tackle. Oh, they must be dancing in the street in Columbia.
There must be 1742. Shed Diggs is there. The kid from Fort Myers, Florida, is all over the field. That time he used his speed to catch the option, just like Broderick Thomas did to catch the option of Ellis before.
Well, it's not like they're catching them by surprise. Nebraska has to remember them from last year. 3rd and 15. Another big play here in the first half with 3:32 to go. Taylor blitz. He got away with a chance to throw. Throws complete, but it's way shy of the first down to Henley Hawkins. They will have a chance to go for a field goal, however. Boys, are trouble in Kansas. They're losing to Southern Illinois, and Kansas State is being ripped by Tulsa, a team that hasn't exactly blown other people away this year.
Football team.
Yes,
So, and I tell you, anytime you lose to a great team, you get better if you learn from the experience.
Chris Drennan, who has kicked a 27-yarder, will try this one from 36. Out of the hole, the backup quarterback, Cleet Blakeman. Plenty of distance, and it's right through. So Nebraska, with 2 field goals, has really squandered some tremendous field position, only coming up with those 2 field goals, and leads 6-0 with 3:14 to go in the first half. Coming up after this ball game, Florida against LSU. Boy, is the SEC loaded with ball clubs this year.
The state of Florida's loaded.
Oh, heavens, yes.
Gators and the Seminoles and the Hurricanes.
And, of course, LSU holding up the pride of Louisiana and doing a great job. The only blemish on their record, that tie with Tennessee, and that was at Tennessee.
Now, I'd like to say one thing about South Carolina right now. If I was the coach, Coach Morrison, I'd make sure that I went in 6-0. Be very careful here not to turn the ball over and give that Nebraska another 7 points, and then it might be all over. So I would play conservative here, move the ball, punt it, let Nebraska go in 6-0, and my team is ready to score one time and win.
Drennan to kick off. Sharp, one of the 2 deep men back there with Hardin Brown, number 11. Short kick this time into the wind. One of the up men will take it to the 15-yard line. In South Carolina, they're going to have some good offensive field position, as number 26 backup running back Keith Bing brings it up to the 34-yard line. This is luxury for South Carolina, starting at the 34. And this is what's happened in the ball game. The 2 field goals are only scores. Taylor has had a tough time throwing the ball. Ellis hasn't exactly been lighting the place up. And South Carolina has not been able to penetrate even near field goal territory against this Cornhusker defense. Ellis faked it to Green. Has time, throws deep. Had a man out there, Smith, and it was overthrown. He was covered by Charles Fryer, but he had a stride, maybe a stride and a half on him.
Well, that was a good call, because number one, what happened is if the guy's not open, you throw it out of bounds. That's fine. At least you don't turn the ball over. Remember, the last throw that Ellis made was intercepted, and the coach wants to make sure that he says, look, I still got confidence in you, but not that much. Let's get in here 6-0 and hold on for the second half.
The numbers have to bother Ellis a little bit. He now has 10 interceptions this year and only 3 touchdown passes. And no matter how many times you throw the ball, you can justify the interceptions by saying, as last week, they threw the ball 51 times, but you got to get the touchdown passes too.
But you got to remember, that young man right there, Ellis, set 3 national freshman records in 1986. Yards passing, total offense, and 20 touchdown passes. He's always been a winner. He led his high school football team to 3 state championships in a row, and South Carolina's lucky to have him at the quarterback position.
Really unusual. He ran the run and shoot in high school at Greensboro, North Carolina. And not an offense you normally find in high school football, is it? 3 minutes, 3 seconds to go. And this is the best starting field position South Carolina's had today for a drive. Their own 33.
Ellis is probably reminding receivers now, if you catch the football, put two hands on it. We don't want them to strip it and get a fumble recovery and cause us a problem with our field position. Our defense is tired enough. Let's try to go in at halftime and give them a rest and try to come out and keep it. As long as the game is close, South Carolina's got a chance to win it with a secret play of some sort.
2nd and 10 for Todd Ellis. 3-man rush, tries to get it off to Green. A little dump off. Green slips one tackle. Still on his feet. Heck of a play by Green. He got it out to the 47-yard line where Charles Fryer knocked him down, and a flag goes down late.
Tackle by Fryer.
Fine play by Green, who took the little, didn't look like a screen because there weren't any blockers out there, but a little safety valve pass and just turned it into something.
That's that run and shoot screen. It allows all the people to come in, and then he just dumps it over their line, over their head.
Or face mask against the defense.
And it's going to go against Nebraska, which will put the ball in Big Red territory for the 2nd time for South Carolina today. They'll mark it at the 49, and it's 1st and 10. Gamecocks with 2:52 to go.
Mike, they've also, South Carolina's got 2 timeouts. Nebraska wasted 2 and have no timeouts left right now.
Crowd cheering on the defense again. It's been their only focus this afternoon. The offense has not been able to move the ball at all. Ellis under pressure, hit as he throws, but it's complete this time, and he got it to Harden Brown out of Red Springs, North Carolina. Blazek made the tackle, but it's enough for another South Carolina first down, and they stop the clock with 2:28 left.
That might have been one of the best throws he's thrown all year, Todd Ellis. Watch him. He gets a tremendous amount of pressure from 96 feet. He steps up, throws the ball right over Etienne's head, and number 11, Brown, makes a good catch by grabbing it and making sure he holds on to it.
That was some throw from the Nebraska 36, 1st and 10. They'll go on the option. Brown trying to get outside. Shows you some speed, but also showing you some speed. Brian Washington, the young man who earlier had the interception, and he ran him down.
You gotta love the way Ellis operates. That time he comes on, he throws a great pass on one play. The next play comes down, runs a very, very tough option, flips the ball under pressure. He's got to be one of the best young quarterbacks in this country, and someday, no question, a candidate for the Heisman Trophy.
Gil Brandt of the Cowboys was quoted as saying if he cut down on his interceptions, he would be the best quarterback in the country. Sharp in motion on 2nd and 10. Ellis with time wants to go deep, but they touchdown South Carolina. That's the play that almost worked earlier in the ball game. He comes back, looks to his left, and turns and bombs away.
And who does he beat? Number 7, Clayton. What a call from upstairs. They got 7, Clayton, the number 2 defensive back in there, and they beat him deep. Now watch, Ellis goes back, sets his feet, and throws a bomb. They tried to beat Hicks, number 8, first, but now they beat number 7, Clayton, who's a 2nd-teamer with Bethea. Touchdown, and if he makes this one, it's a 7-16.
The point after by Colin Mackey is good, and the Gamecocks of South Carolina, we told you they came here primed for an upset, have taken a 7-6 lead with 2 minutes to go in the first half. And Bethea is their big play man downfield.
Oh, he makes a great play. Ellis goes to his left, he pumps to the right, sets his feet, and lets it go. Now watch, number 7, Clayton, who's a converted quarterback, gets beat long by Bethea. Now, the interesting part about it is, how about that strategy I told you about? Played it nice and conservative.
That's right.
Wasn't that right? I told you should have go for a touchdown. Didn't I tell you? All right, all right. He forgot all those pass interceptions. He's ready to go. Bring him on.
That's his 4th touchdown pass this year, the first of the game. Ellis now on the day, 11 out of 21, 102 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. And South Carolina, you got to credit this to the defense, even though the offense just got a touchdown. The defense has kept them in the ball game, and they lead 2nd-ranked and undefeated Nebraska 7-6 with 2 minutes to go in the half. And you better believe people watching scores from around the country are going to say, what? No surprise, really. Deep to receive, Ken Clark. and finds Shepard. And Clark will bring it out. Great kick return teams here in Nebraska, and he gets it out to the 25-yard line. That drive, it came in a hurry. Only a minute 9, and the 35-yard bomb finished off the 67-yard drive and puts the Gamecocks on top of Nebraska. 1:54 to go in the half. Now, you said what Joe Morrison should have done. Now, what is Tom Osborne going to do with a minute 54?
Can I wait and see what he does, and then I could be right this time? I was so wrong that last time. Well, that's a great piece of strategy.
That's all right. Taylor with Heibel behind him. He wants to throw under pressure again, and the South Carolina defense just swarming the guy who broke it up. Number 46, Hinton, was the first man in there, and he has been all over Steve Taylor since this game started.
I think that Nebraska is surprised with the quickness of the South Carolina team. They're not very big, but boy, they're all over them with quickness.
2nd and 13. Remember, South Carolina has a couple of timeouts left if they can stop the clock here. Deep pass over the middle, and wide open. It's a touchdown, Nebraska. Number 21, Richard Bell. Richard Bell, the 4th man on the wing-back depth chart, was wide open, made the catch, and then a great play.
We talk about when you live by the sword, you sometimes die by the sword. He's chasing, 25 is chasing Philpott, who's been making all those tackles on the inside. They got a great block on the outside, but the reason that play worked is Philpott was coming up. They suckered him to the inside and threw a palm over his head.
Morgan Gregory, number 19, made the block downfield to get the touchdown. Chris Drennan on for the point after. And just as suddenly as South Carolina struck for its touchdown, Nebraska comes back on a 78-yard pass and run play to go back on top.
Well, it's a minute and 12 seconds, and they try to put a little bit more pressure on him. You never put the pressure on a quarterback and play man coverage with a minute and 12 seconds left to go. Philpott cannot cover number 21, Richard Bell. It's all over. Number 19, as you called it, makes the block right there, and there goes Bell for a touchdown.
Well, that's the question I was just going to ask you. In this situation, you got them backed up 2nd and 13. I expected them to be playing a prevent defense and have about 6 defensive backs in there.
Sometimes it's easy to second guess, but what they probably was doing was try to continue to intimidate Taylor before the half. But it was a calculated risk that failed.
Sharp and Taylor are deep. Drennan will kick off, and it's 13-7 Nebraska. What a first half. We've had some great action on both sides of the football. And the crowd's really into it now, aren't they? Into the window, get a chance to run it back. Hardin Brown from the 9. Lost his balance as he got to the 23, and whoa! Must have lost the football because Nebraska just sent everyone down on the ground after it.
Speaking from a defensive standpoint from South Carolina, and the head coach Morrison, when he goes in at halftime, he'll tell them, look, it took one long pass to get a touchdown for those guys. They can't move the ball against us. We're playing great football. Don't let that one play bother you. And there's Morrison right there saying to himself, how in the world can we let him off the hook? Osborne saying to himself, we're not playing well. We lucked out on that touchdown pass.
Ball's at the South Carolina 23 with 1:06 to go. Nebraska with no timeouts cannot stop the clock if South Carolina just wants to run it out and go in the locker room. But that's not what they want to do, and now the quarterback is sacked. Ellis just went down as Jamrog, number 80, got in there in a hurry along with 96 Lawrence Pete.
What they wanted to do, they set up a screen to number 41, Danny Smith at the left end. He faked one way, he was going to throw a screen, but Smith busted the assignment, went downfield, and Ellis did a smart thing, just drop on the ball. Congratulations. It's 42 seconds to go in counting. We'll get out of here with a 13-7 deficit.
That's the 3rd sack of the ball game for Nebraska. With 34 seconds left, you'd have to think South Carolina would play it really close to the vest here, but forget it. Ellis is back to throw, gets it out to Smith. And Smith will be taken down at the 25-yard line. They say the clock will continue to run. And now a flag is down. Players really starting to push and shove each other a little bit. The intensity has grown in this ballgame.
That was the exact same play they called before. This time, Smith listened in the huddle.
He did what he was supposed to do. Personal foul, late hit against the defense.
Personal foul against Nebraska. That'll cost them 15. And move the ball out to the 41. Now maybe the strategy changes a little with 20 seconds to go.
Well, there's no reason why they shouldn't throw long passes. Not any short ones where they can intercept it, but let him throw some long patches. There's Richard Bell, first career reception for a touchdown, just like he dreamed about doing it.
You must think this game is easy.
Yeah, it's easy.
One catch, 78 yards, touchdown. Let me back in, coach. First and 10, Gamecocks. Under pressure, gets it out to Harden Brown. And Brown driven out of bounds at the Nebraska 47. That's the end of the first half, though. The clock has run down. And what a first half it has been. Big defensive plays by both ball clubs. 2 interceptions for both teams and a 13-7 Nebraska lead.
Right now, psychologically, South Carolina's winning. They're losing 13-7 on the scoreboard. But let me tell you something. Tom Osborne scratching his head there, trying to figure out how can I get my football team to play Nebraska football, which is hard-nosed, knock them down, and go get them.
All right, we're at halftime in Lincoln, Nebraska. Our score, the Cornhuskers 13, the Gamecocks 7. Let's check in with all the college football action in our college football studio and Tim Brando. Tim. Second half, Nebraska receives and down at the 15-yard line in a hurry when Von. Second half, Nebraska receives and down at the 15-yard line in a hurry when Von Shepard, his feet went out from under him, and he was quickly covered by Stephon Williams, a reserve defensive back. And Nebraska will start in poor field position at its own 15. The time of possession definitely in favor of Nebraska. They had field position in their favor. Look at the rushing yard. And yet it's 13-7, and they got a break on the play they scored on the touchdown. The South Carolina defense has been the story of this ballgame so far. Heibel, the fullback. That's been a successful play all day. Remains on his feet to the 29, almost the 30-yard line. Flag is down at the end of the play. You had Robinson 36 and Rod Smith 88. Taking one of them, took a whack at the other. And it's going to go against South Carolina. Miami with the win over Florida State. I got to give Bobby Bowden all the credit in the world for going for 2. I know you don't like that play, but I think if you're going to win a national title, you got to take the risk.
Well, there's 2 ways of looking at it. If he ties Miami, which is ranked 3rd in the nation, and he's 4th, he doesn't drop but maybe 2 spots, and he can win a national championship with an undefeated season after a bowl win. Now he's got a tough time winning it.
First down, Nebraska at its own 34. Jones on the toss. And Jones across the 40 to the 43. Lee, they must have heard you in the first half. I think they want to come out and establish that running game.
Well, I think what Osborne told them in the second half is let's play some Nebraska football. Let's try to go after these plays. 48 McKernan, 46 is Hinton, 25 is Philpott, but those guys are not very big, so let's quit messing around with all this counter-action passing game, and let's test them man-to-man, and I think that's probably what he's going to do the rest of the second half. Got 14:25 to go in the 3rd quarter. Now they're going to come out and measure with the ball at the 44. I'd like to add one thing there. Also, remember that this is what Tom Osborne did against UCLA, and he kept running, and then Taylor threw 5 touchdown passes on play-action plays. But you've got to establish the running game Tom Osborne does right there before anything will work at Nebraska. He's 2nd in inches. Taylor's stats improving, 5 out of 12, 123 yards. Most of that 123, however, came on the one play that went 78. He has had a tough day. 2nd in inches. They'll give it to Jones. Bobbled the handoff a little. Taken down by Tommy Chaikin, but he's got the first down at the 45.
Here's what Nebraska did in the first half. The first time they touched the ball, they took the 3-0 lead, and the Cornhusker fans sat back and thought, well, things are going to go great from here on out. But then an interception by South Carolina, and the defense really stiffened. You can see the great field position that Nebraska had almost all of the first half, and South Carolina simply stuffed them and wouldn't let them get in, except for the 2 field goals and then the last big bomb. Players jumping offside. And it's Hart and Jake Young banging into each other. We'll check the call, please.
Dead ball. Illegal procedure on the defense.
That across South Carolina, another 5 yards.
Probably what the offensive lineman said, these guys are teeing off on our rhythmic count. Let's use some non-rhythmic, and let's also use a longer count so they can jump off sides and give them a 5-yard penalty.
Whatever works, right?
That's right.
Steve Taylor out of Fresno, California, leads them out now on 1st and 5 from midfield. Terrence Knox is the I-back. And he'll get the toss. Hart tripped him up as he reached the South Carolina 47-yard line. Been a good ball game for Roy Hart, number 54, out of Tifton, Georgia.
62 Sledge is a 6'2", 270-pounder, and 34 Knox is running right over. Watch Sledge come off the ball with good straight arm action and blocks the man out. And Sledge puts number 98 Hendricks to the side. Now remember, you can use your hands like that. You can bring your hands out. That's not a penalty.
2nd and 1. And they'll go to Knox. He's got the first down and more to the Gamecock 41-yard line. This drive started back at the 15, and it has been on the ground.
62 Sledge, 65 Keeler are doing a good job. Watch 65 pull and blocks the man down. Sledge blocks number 91 down, and he comes off to the yards. Now, one thing I'd like to say here, if Nebraska goes in right now and sticks it in psychologically, boy, that gives their offense a great boost.
They already lead by 6. Heibel on the option, not this time, as Hart really got him, and that's an instantaneous decision that the quarterback has to make whether to give up that ball or not. And that's usually the thing that makes the option game go well, is if you can get some ground out of your fullback, and they have today.
2nd down and 10.
So it's 2nd and 10. South Carolina's done a fine job of taking the crowd out of this ball game. The sellout crowd has not been that much of a factor most of the afternoon. Knox is in at the I-back for Joe. Taylor to throw. Guns it near side. Low and incomplete. They said it skipped into the hands of Morgan Gregory. Taylor has just not thrown the ball all that well today. He's had a tough time, and it's because of defensive pressure.
The automatic that time, he had one-on-one coverage. Gregory 19 against number 36 Robinson. He called the color out of their automatic system and threw a one-on-one shot, but he didn't set himself and throw the ball over the top, and therefore was a bad throw.
They'll take Hart 54 out, put in Tim High 51 on a passing situation. 3rd and 10 from the South Carolina 41. And here they come with a blitz, and they got him again. Loose ball. And South Carolina recovers at the Nebraska 43-yard line, and Taylor is down, and they're saying it is not a fumble, as Scott Windsor just drilled him. Or they're saying the fumble was recovered there. What is the official's call here?
Windsor number 20 comes from the backside, which means, now watch, from the left part of your picture, they do not block him. Number 57, Leitner, missed the assignment. He's supposed to block number 20, Scott Windsor, and wow, what a shot he gets him. Now remember, watch, number 57 is supposed to block to his right, not to his left, and he leaves number 20, Windsor, come flying through. The quarterback does not see him.
Oh, look how loose the ball was. The ball came loose immediately, and it has been ruled no fumble. And South Carolina will not have the ball at the Nebraska 43-yard line. Nebraska retains possession, and they just missed that call. That came loose immediately. And the South Carolina sideline had been beside itself. Joe Morrison screaming at one of the officials, and Croker comes on to punt.
Edwards, the deep back for South Carolina.
Well, that was as obvious a fumble as you will see. Croker, and they almost blocked it. Bangs this one out of here, trying to down it. Tip back. The player never touched his feet in the end zone, leaped over the line, knocked it back. They'll down it at the 1 after a 47-yard punt. ESPN is brought to you by Heil Heating and Cooling. Depend on Heil. They're born to run. And by Napa Auto Parts stores. Call 1-800-LET-NAPA for the nearest location. South Carolina will start from the 20. There's the South Carolina coaching staff talking to one of the officials, and they are still talking about the play that was ruled not a fumble when Taylor was sacked, and it was obvious that it was a fumble. It comes loose immediately.
Now 57, Leitner busted assignment. Number 20, Windsor comes on the blind side and hits him with the ball straight, and it is a fumble, no question. The official talking to Joe Morrison was Paul Schmidt. He's a referee from Louisville, Kentucky. He's a good referee, but he blew that one, no question.
Now, from that angle, you couldn't see the ball come loose immediately. From the other angle we showed you earlier, it obviously did at the moment of impact. Ellis back to throw. Throwing deep over the middle for Sharp. And Sharp has it. If he can keep his balance, he's got a chance. 10-5, touchdown, South Carolina. An 80-yard bomb from Ellis to the All-American Sterling Sharp, and Brian Washington, who had made big plays earlier, could not make the tackle. Holy cow, what a game.
Ellis has got Sharp, number 2, isolated one-on-one with Washington. Washington is number 5, who's 6'1", 220 pounds, and I tell you, he's never once had that situation in his whole life have to cover a guy like Sharp man for man. And they just picked it up beautifully.
They came on the blitz, and they were burned. Colin Mackey for the point after. And South Carolina, in a game of big, big plays, is on top 14-13.
Ellis goes to his left, makes a little fake to Green, number 22, to fullback, sets up. He's got man-for-man coverage on Washington, number 5, and Sharp, number 2, as he gets going. Remember the top of the show, we talked about he could run after he catches it? That's a perfect example. And here comes Ellis. This is number 2 for him. All right.
We have a timeout with 11:18 to go, third quarter. South Carolina by 1. This has been a game of excellent defense interspersed with big, big offensive plays. This is Eric Markle to kick it off. Deep to receive Von Shepard and Ken Clark, as South Carolina has stunned the crowd again, taking a 14-13 lead. Shepard, and he fell down at the 3-yard line and grabbed his knee. Von Shepard is the young man who had a broken leg and a severe knee injury last year, and it looked like right there it just gave out on him.
Well, that'll sometimes happen on AstroTurf or artificial turf. Your legs and your feet get caught and grabbed, and you just go down. Now watch him. As he starts to move, his feet will get tangled up, and he'll just slip. His left leg got caught in that turf.
And I think his right knee gave out too, Lee. He had that right knee back to push, and I think it just collapsed on him.
I'll tell you what, if it didn't, he was going to make sure everybody thought it did.
That's right. That's right. How many times has anybody who ever played in a sport been in that situation? And now Cleet Blakeman comes in at quarterback. Steve Taylor, you remember, on the last offensive possession was hit very hard and had to be helped off the field. So Blakeman is in there, gives it to Heibel. 8 red shirts, white shirts around him, and Heibel drags people out to the 12. That's just power. 225 pounds straight ahead.
He's an interesting guy. You know what he does for a hobby? He sings and plays the trombone for a local group, and he still has time to carry a 3.4 grade point average. I'm talking about Heibel, number 48.
Doesn't sing and play trombone at the same time, does he?
If he does, no wonder people come to watch him.
I'd pay $5 to see that myself. Heibel, 7 carries, 56 yards. He gained 9 on the last play. We'll try to check on Taylor for you. Jones back in with the eye back, trying to get the first down. Stacked up there. Some scores will keep you up to date on Ohio State having trouble with Illinois. Washington being upset by Oregon in the third quarter. Alabama blowing away Southwestern Louisiana. And some other scores. You can pick out your favorite teams as we go along. A lot of West Coast scores still in progress, as is this one. 10 minutes to go, third quarter.
Young, number 68, is blocking on number 54. Hart is a competitive player. Comes all the way down and makes a good play.
They lost a yard, so it's 3rd and 2. Blakeman in at quarterback. To Jones on the toss. And he dives forward on second effort to the 14. That should be a first down. Depending on where they mark it, it's so critical. Good effort by Keith Enzone Jones, the all Big 8 I-back. And there's Von Shepard on the sideline, along with Ken Clark. And now they will measure. And this is a big, big play. One of the few times Nebraska's been deep in its own territory.
And Tim Rick of Omaha. Richard Bradley of Papillion and Tim Williams.
And they've got it. Big first down for the Cornhuskers.
One of the things that always worried me as a coach when I got my second center and the second quarterback in there is how he'll take, and this is what Tom Osborne's thinking about, how he will take the center snap. You always worried about that center snap and having a fumble when your number 2 quarterback is in with your number 1 center.
Blakeman's a senior. He's only thrown 5 passes this year, completed 2. He's run the ball 5 times for 5 yards, so he just has not had that much playing time. Here's the reverse. They run the wingback out to the 20-yard line, and that's Richard Bell, number 21, the young man who made that 78-yard touchdown reception. Dana Brinson, the starting wingback, is not playing because he missed some classes this week. Henley Hawkins was supposed to start but didn't play very much. Von Shepard has hurt a knee, and Richard Bell is emerging as a star as the 4th-string wingback of this ball club. Second down, 3 yards to go for Nebraska at its own 20. Heibel appears to have the first down as he gets up to the 24-25-yard line. Now, with Blakeman in there, you have the feeling that they are really going to try to grind it out now. 9:11 to go, and the crowd really trying to get into this one.
Nebraska's always been famous for that unselfish fullback. You never hear from him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's a blocker. He's a hard-nosed guy. But this guy, Heibel, could win this ball game if he keeps running hard in the inside.
Senior from right here in the Lincoln. Jones is in there at the I-back spot. They've got the full house backfield. Heibel again. And South Carolina shuts it down this time after a gain of about 1. South Carolina playing without its leading tackler, at least last year, Derek Little, the linebacker. He was too injured to make this trip. Got to be enjoying this one back in Columbia, though.
Well, they've seen their team play real well because they're playing one of the finest teams in the country. Head-to-head, they're ahead 14-13. They're playing well. This is not a fluke, ladies and gentlemen. This South Carolina is a good football team.
2nd and 7, 8:23 to go, third quarter. Blakeman on the option. Shed Diggs from behind. Loose ball. South Carolina has it. Shed Diggs, for the 3rd time in this ball game, has chased down a quarterback from behind, delivered the hit, and made something happen. This time it was a fumble, and Patrick Hinton recovered.
What happens on the play all the time is watch. The quarterback, Blakeman, will move to the left, and while he's doing that faking, here comes Diggs, who's got great speed and comes from behind, number 42, and they cause a fumble.
First down, South Carolina at the Nebraska 27. The crowd chants defense, and they need it here. And somebody moved. 2 Nebraska players hustle across the line of scrimmage before the ball is snapped. We'll see who moved first. Lawrence Pete, the nose man, was in there.
Good ball. Illegal procedure, defense.
It's against Nebraska. That'll cost them 5. And Tom Osborne not happy about it. Nebraska, of course, had played what many thought would be 2 of the 3 toughest games on its schedule, UCLA and Arizona State, and everybody around here just waiting for the Oklahoma game coming up in November. They figured that'd be for number 1. to determine who goes to the Orange Bowl, but South Carolina has other designs on who might be tough for Nebraska. First and 5, Green. Whoa, what a move. He got away to the 15-yard line. Green with a great move. Jeff Tomjack makes the tackle. But the shifty, slashing runner out of Ladson, South Carolina, has the first down.
Well, that's that draw play. Remember, the quarterback comes back, sets up, Ellis does, and says all of a sudden he hands the ball to Green, number 22. He makes a good break. He meets ATN, miss him, but number 11, Tom Jack, comes up and makes a good play. Tom Jack is the only guy in college football with 3 first names. Jeff Tom Jack. Yeah, isn't it? It's neat, isn't it?
And it's the first down for South Carolina. 14-13 Gamecocks. 8:02 to go third quarter. Some other scores. Wittenberg, 500 college football victory. UCLA really laying it on Stanford. And here it's South Carolina 14, Nebraska 13. The Gamecocks driving, first and 10. Ellis changes the play and sends Sharp in motion. And throws quickly, and White never caught the checkoff because of the noise.
He was wide open. What they did is they set a man in motion, and Nebraska's defense all shifted up, but they forgot where White, number 6, was. Watch. As he moves to his right, Ellis does, there's an open spot right there where White did not hear the automatic signal. Now, a lot of times teams will use a hand signal in that case they can't hear him.
So it's second and 10. The Gamecocks just inside the Custer 17. Ellis on the option, and it's the reverse. Bethea to the 10, 5, touchdown South Carolina. Oh, you go to the back page of the playbook and pull one out. 17-yard flanker reverse to Bethea, and the Gamecocks are up by 7 with a point after coming. Do you believe that?
I tell you, Nebraska doesn't believe it.
Looked like a play that Tom Osborne had called.
It's one of the best plays off the whistle. Watch, Ellis comes to his right, flips it back to Bethea, and there's absolutely no one. No one. 71, Shivers is out there, and it's good.
They had 3 blockers out there on Charles Fryer who didn't have a chance. The point after is good. South Carolina now leads it by 8. Well, you could hear a Cornhusker drop in here right now. It's 21-13 South Carolina, third quarter with 7:27 to go. The Gamecocks getting ready to kick off. That's Eric Markle deep to receive. Ken Clark 32 and Richard Bell 21 is in there for Shepard. Bell has done it all from his wingback position when he's been in there. Clark will take it out 4 yards deep to the 25, maybe the 26-yard line. Fine 30-yard return by Ken Clark. And Clark comes back, or Steve Taylor coming back into the ball game at quarterback for Nebraska. That's the cheer you hear. He had been standing on the last series beside head coach Tom Osborne, and apparently not seriously injured at all, and he's the guy you got to go with right now. Number 2 in the country, undefeated, down by 8 at home. Taylor wants to throw, throws near side, complete. Smith caught the ball on his knees. Give him a gain of 7 yards on that play. Smith can catch the ball downfield, averaging nearly 20 yards a catch. That time he went with a short route. And they said Taylor re-aggravated his shoulder injury that he received against UCLA. They re-patted it and they have him back in there. That is not going to help your shoulder being dragged down that way, and South Carolina's defense rose up to do it again. Tommy Chaykin, the left tackle out of Bethesda, Maryland.
The option play fakes the ball to the fullback, and Taylor will come down the line. Now watch number 94, Chaykin, who goes to the inside, takes the fullback, gets away from the right guard, McCormick, and drags down Taylor. That you cannot do any better than to knock your man down, knock the fullback down, and knock the quarterback down.
That's not bad.
That's not bad.
3rd and 4 for Nebraska. Taylor changing the play. Back to throw. Diggs on the blitz. Got away. Taylor throws and incomplete. Trying to hit Richard Bell, the wingback, threw it behind him, and it's 4th down. Nebraska will have to kick it away. Boy, the blitzing play of South Carolina has really messed up Nebraska's offense.
Well, when they put the pressure on Taylor as he comes out to your right, watch, number 42 Diggs is all over the field. He avoids him, but he throws the ball behind number 21 Bell. And it looks like to me he's got not only a shoulder problem, but I think he's got a problem from the eyebrows up. I think he's intimidated. I really do think they got this guy confused.
I don't blame him.
Now watch him. They might block one pretty soon, this guy.
Croker on the punt. Just got this one off in a poor kick. Low bouncer that Sharp is chasing down. Picks up at the 25. Sharp's got a chance to get, needed to make one more move to really get something big out of that. As it is, he's back to the 35. South Carolina will start in a good spot. Mike Patrick and Lee Corso with you from sold-out Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, Nebraska, where the undefeated and second-ranked Cornhuskers are in danger. They're down by 8. South Carolina has the football at its own 35. 5:51 to go in the third quarter, and Todd Ellis has made a believer out of the Cornhuskers. 14 out of 25, 211 yards, 2 touchdowns and 2 early interceptions. Green bounces it outside. What tremendous balance. And Green gets to the 41-yard line. Harold Green out of Ladson, South Carolina. Sophomore. He was a no-show at practice yesterday. Missed the team bus. They thought he wasn't going to start, but he did.
Well, I tell you what he did that time. If you don't think this is tough to do, he just ran over Neil Smith, number 99, who's 6'5", 260 pounds. He just ran right smack over him.
Gain of 5, 2nd and 5. Green again. Not this time. Maybe 2 yards. Leroy Etienne, the 230-pound junior linebacker, was there.
Etienne that time came up and really stuck him. He got underneath him on a pad under pad right there. He was the state of Louisiana's defensive player of the year in 1983 and 84. He's a surefire All-American someday here.
Playing with a bad knee this week. 3rd and 3. The crowd exhorting the Cornhusker defense. Ellis. Somehow they missed him, but he went down anyway. Number 93, John Marco, blew in there, and then Rother was there after Ellis rolled out of trouble. They'll have to punt it away with 4:20 to go, third quarter. Deep to receive the punt, Morgan Gregory and Rod Smith. Rod Price, who has taken over the punting chores, really rockets one out of there. That ball was touched. It'll go out of bounds at the 3-yard line. And Nebraska finds itself in terrible field position after a 59-yard crusher from sophomore punter Rodney Price.
Smith goes back and he tries to catch the ball over his shoulder like the center field in the World Series. He misjudges it, goes over his head. Once he touches the ball, it's live. He follows it as it goes out of bounds. Thank goodness, but look where it is, on the 4-yard line. And with the South Carolina defense, the type they play, they could get a safety here. They're one of the few teams that can fly in there and get something happen, make something happen.
We told the fans at the beginning of the telecast the South Carolina defense has done a brilliant job all year, but this would be their biggest test. They have passed with flying colors. Taylor, a little one-on-one moves, gets out to the 7-yard line before Matt McKernan, the outside linebacker, brought him down.
Taylor, number 9, is going to run some kind of an option play and then turns around. All of a sudden, it's covered. Watch. He rolls to his right, fakes the ball, a high ball right there, comes back to his left, and is finally covered and knocked down. 42, Diggs finally misses a tackle.
That's right.
48, McKernan can knock him down. But I tell you what, they made 4 yards, but that was a lousy-looking play.
Hey, Shed Diggs hasn't done anything else wrong all day. 2nd and 6 for Taylor and Nebraska. They're down by 8. Taylor again on the option. Pitches it to Jones. Jones will get out to the 14-yard line. And Taylor slow getting up again. This will be a first down, Nebraska. 3 minutes, 5 seconds, and counting in the third quarter. Georgia a winner today. We'll see them next week against LSU. And Oregon really surprising Washington. First and 10, Nebraska from the 14. Heibel. Hart had him this time and flattened him after a gain of a couple. Good ball game for the nose guard, Roy Hart.
Hart is a good football player. He's tipped in Georgia, but he's short and stocky. They say he's 6 foot, but he's more like 5'10". Watch. He takes a step to the left. Number 61, McCormick, tries to block him, but he pulls down number 48, Heibel. You know, the nose man is the most important player on the entire defensive team. If you can single block him, you can win. If you've got a double team him, you lose.
Second down and 8. Fake to Jones. Taylor with plenty of time. Now he's going to have to run. And 3 South Carolina defenders converge and drive him out of bounds. Greg Philpott was the first man who hit him. Well, with number 91, Ricky Daniels over there. Can't say enough about this South Carolina defense. They have done the job on an offense that comes in number 4 in total offense in the nation, number 4 in rushing offense, number 2 in scoring. And they have really only had one big play all afternoon long against the Gamecocks. 3rd and 3. Taylor just got the toss off to Jones, and Jones has the first down as he dives forward to the 26-yard line. And they have hit Taylor time and time again. He is barely able to get up this time, and there is a flag down.
Both sides against the defense.
It's against South Carolina, so they'll have the first down regardless. But Taylor looks like a boxer where there's no 3 knockdown rule. He just gets up slower and slower.
Joe Morrison on the sideline right there is concerned about one thing. It's a close ball game right now, but in about 2 minutes and 5 seconds, the Nebraska team's going to have the wind in the fourth quarter. The wind at Lincoln with a crowd could be too much for that man to overcome. But I'll tell you one thing, they've got to be very, very proud of the South Carolina football team at this moment.
Well, they're sitting pretty right now, up by 8. First and 10, Nebraska. Jones, trick play. Taylor hit just as he unloaded, throws into coverage, almost intercepted. Oh, South Carolina had that defense perfectly. Rod Smith was covered by 3 players, and Taylor got it again. I don't think he should have thrown that ball.
Well, what he did is he just tried to get the pass interference on that because 27 Edwards and 29 Floyd had good coverage. Watch. He throws the ball to the tailback. The tailback throws it back to him. It's the old flea flicker play. He throws a bomb. He's hit. And he just stays down there. He's a good football player, but I think he's hurt.
Second and 10. Taylor trying to run the option. They leave him alone, and he'll keep it. Taylor to the 39. What a shot he took from Brad Edwards. Gee.
And this is the option play. And Taylor does this as well as anybody, but he gets hit by number 27 Edwards on a good watch. He comes down the line of scrimmage. He's got good football position. Now he's going to tuck the boy away at the last minute and get hit right here. Bing! Oh, what a shot by Edwards. Brad Edwards, 6'3", 199. He was an all-state quarterback in high school from Fayetteville, North Carolina, and he stuck it to the quarterback from Nebraska.
He is the number 1 tackler on South Carolina's swarming defense, but it's another first down for Nebraska. They're running the option and keeping the ball. Heibel almost lost a handle on that one. Stacked up as he picked up maybe a couple. Heibel, 10 carries, 66 yards before that one. And he's had a fine first half and a third quarter coming in the game. He don't carry the ball 17 times in 3 games.
What you do as a defensive staff, you can't stop everybody, so you let the guy try to beat you that hasn't beaten anybody else, and Heibel has never beaten anybody. That's why they're letting Heibel run it.
Second and 8. Fake to Jones. Here's the blitz again, and they've got Taylor. Philpott, the safety, coming again. There's no safety. He's a down lineman.
Remember, that's the same guy, though, that got beat for that long pass we talked about. But they're not automaticing properly. He's coming up on a line of scrimmage. You'll see him come from the right side of your picture, number 25. Philpott, there's nobody to block him because they bring in 4 on 3. And we got Taylor down because he threw him down on his shoulder. Remember, I talked to Taylor yesterday, and he has a bad left shoulder. I can tell you that because he had ice all over it. He's a very competitive young man, but enough's enough.
He's down there right now counting body parts to see if they're all still there. And they're going to have to help him off. Look at the way he's wobbling.
Okay, keep your eye on him. It's a little bootleg action, but 25, Phil Body's got nothing but Taylor on his mind, and he throws him down to the ground on his shoulder, and the ball hit him in the stomach, and that could take your breath away from you.
Boy, it does.
Right now, it looks like Nebraska is going to have to keep their undefeated season going on with everybody, and including Blakeman, but not let Blakeman try to win it like Taylor would. Let everybody try to win it. Throw the ball to Smith. Throw the ball to Milliken. Let Bell run it. Let Jones run it. They got to use the whole team right now, Mike, because that kid is hurt.
Blakeman is in an unenviable spot, 3rd and 10, and they're going to let the clock run out here in the 3rd quarter. Or at least I thought they would. Now they hustle up to the line of scrimmage, trying to catch South Carolina off guard. And seeing that the South Carolina defense gets set, they let the clock run out. That is the end of the 3rd quarter. Our score here in Lincoln, Nebraska. South Carolina 21, Nebraska 30. Nebraska sideline, and they are screening what's going on with Steve Taylor. I could see momentarily that they were adjusting that whatever shoulder pad they have on him for that injured shoulder. And now apparently they just got ice on the back of his neck. We'll update you on a baseball score. Detroit has beaten Toronto 3-2-12. The Tigers lead the AL East by a game with 1 game to play. Fleet Blakeman is in there. Here's the draw play to Jones. On 3rd and 10, end zone Jones down to the South Carolina 39-yard line.
Okay, well, just what we were talking about. They're going to have to win the ball game with the tailback, with the wideouts. But now Jones, number 6, gets a good block by number 65 Keeler, 62 Sledge, and he breaks him right in through here with good speed as Diggs misses him as he goes down the field. And I tell you what, right now, Nebraska needs this drive, and they got to get at least 3 points out of it so they don't have to win a touchdown and go for 2.
14:37 to go in the ball game. South Carolina leads by 8, but it's first down Nebraska. Jones. And he's brought down after a gain of maybe a yard. You have the feeling that they're not going to try to make Blakeman win the ball game. That is Nebraska.
I think that's smart because Blakeman they're not their best player. Their best player is sitting over there with his head ringing. You know what I mean? So what they're going to do is try to win it with the rest of the guys. Smith, they'll run it with Jones. I have not called Milliken's name.
That's right.
Banderas, the tight ends, they got to get those guys into the game somehow. They got to use every weapon they have right now.
Milliken was the star last year, caught the go-ahead touchdown pass against South Carolina. Hasn't really been involved so far today. Blakeman, looks like he's trying to change the play, gives it to Jones on the toss. Got a gap. Whoa, what a hit. Bounces off of it, gets a couple of more yards. He's brought down by Matt McKernan, but he survived a major league collision.
What they did is they had the strong safety number 25 Filburn coming from the wide field. So Blakeman did a good thing, and he automatic to the left. Good block there by Milliken. Good. Oh, man, he gets hit by that guy Edwards, and he paid Edwards back for hitting his friend Taylor, right? Now watch number 6 collide with number 27 right here. Wow! And he drives himself forward.
But did you see what Edwards did? He threw a shoulder in him instead of trying to tackle him. Tried to flatten him. 1st and 10. Nebraska driving, trying to tie up this game. Heibel gets to the 25-yard line. Hart hanging on to him again. And the 225-pound senior fullback gains 2 on that play.
Nebraska has been in this situation before. Last week they were losing to Arizona State away from home and needed to drive 95 yards, and they came back and got the winning touchdown. One of the things about Taylor, you got to be careful, Coach. Don't put in a guy that's hurt. He's not as good as the guy that's well. Right now, Blakeman, 12.
2nd and 8 for Nebraska. Blakeman set to throw his first pass. Throws complete to Smith. And Smith, a nice tackle by Floyd, has him at the 17-yard line. Floyd was in danger of giving up another big play as he had in the first half.
Smith goes down the field, makes a little fake, and turns around. That's a nice, safe pass. See? You can complete it. Watch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sets it up, catches the ball, break a tackle, and he'll go forward. 29, Floyd, transferred from Ferrum Junior College to South Carolina. Makes a good tackle.
Tom Osborne on the sideline as they bring the chain gang in from the far side to measure. The Cornhusker crowd really getting into it. First down. The Mountaineers, after some frustration, take it out on East Carolina. Wake Forest over Army. Boy, tough year at the military academies, huh?
Well, remember, they're there to produce Army officers, not to win football games. Well, having been a coach at the United States Naval Academy, I know that's the idea.
1st and 10, Nebraska. Well, you've got an excellent point. Blakeman almost lost the ball, got it to Heibel, who somehow turns a 2-yard loss into a 5-yard gain. Blakeman almost lost it from the center, then almost lost it when he gave it to Heibel.
That's a play that Tom Osborne, who's won 140 games, has never seen before, and it's not in his playbook. There was a snap problem. The ball is sitting there. He gives the ball to Heibel, who takes it away and runs for 7 yards, and everybody said, what a coach.
That's right. Jones has gone over the 100-yard mark, keeping his average up there to get 1,000. Heibel has 76 yards on the day. 2nd and 4. Nebraska driving, down by 8 points. 4th quarter. Jones. McKernan was the first man to hit him. They stop him at the 9. Also got some help back there from Greg Philpott. Boy, the safeties for South Carolina are tough.
Well, the reason they're tough is because the linemen are taking all the blockers away from them, and they're coming up with free shots. But that is also a problem when you keep doing it and keep doing it. Sooner or later, a guy throws a touchdown pass over your head.
3rd down, 2 yards to go for Nebraska at the South Carolina 9. 11 minutes, 12 seconds left. 21-13 South Carolina. We're in Lincoln. Jones got some room. 1st down to the South Carolina 4. Now this looks more like Nebraska football.
And that's why they're looking good. They're playing Nebraska football. Number 61, watch the right guard pull, John McCormick, and he comes around the end, number 61, and flattens Edwards, and he drives himself forward, Knox does. The thing I like about Knox is running now, he's running with confidence. Watch him drop that left shoulder and get an extra 2 yards. They're juiced up now. They're playing Nebraska football. Let's get it in there and score.
Keith Jones approaching the 400-yard mark for the season in 4 games. 1st and goal. Blakeman in at quarterback. Jones. Oh, McKernan hit him very hard as he got to the 3-yard line. First man to hit him was Patrick Hinton, number 46, and McKernan really came up and took his shot.
Okay, both linebackers came from the inside that time. They're attacking the outside of the defense because South Carolina's got too many guys inside for them to block. Now watch, good block by number 57, Leitner. Good block by number 61, McCormick. And then he just drives for all the extra yards he can. They're on the 4, so they got plenty of time. They're on the 3.
2nd and goal from the 3. Jones. Touchdown, Nebraska. An impressive drive with senior reserve quarterback Clete Blakeman at the controls.
Watch number 21, Richard Bell, make this block. Nice pitch out to number 6, Jones, but right 21, Bell makes the block that allows him to go in for a touchdown. That's the same Bell that's not on the roster. He just came out of the student body today, caught an 80-yard touchdown play, and makes a great block.
Now Nebraska will go for 2 after the timeout because they'll stop the clock here to talk it over. They want to go for 2 because they are down 21-19. Going for the 1-point conversion wouldn't make any sense at this point.
Now, what Nebraska's done, and always in the past, is taken 2 tight end set, and they make some kind of a fake, and they cross the tight ends and try to get them man for man down there. The problem against South Carolina is Tom telling them, we don't have time to do that. These guys are just taking a calculated risk and coming from the outside. I would not be surprised to see them run another option play and try to get it in that way.
The South Carolina defense had only been giving up 221 yards in total offense for the whole game. They've given up 200 and some yards on the ground.
Blakeman, good fake. The high ball comes down, pitches it right away. Number 25, Philpott, bid on it. 21, Bell makes the block on number 29, Floyd, and it's a touchdown. Now, I would not be surprised to see that same kind of play because that's their best play. Come down the line and pitch it to their best ball carrier and get him around the corner.
Tell you what, Lee, I would not be surprised when Nebraska gets the ball back for South Carolina to let Blakeman go, make him run the ball instead of getting it to Jones. If they can take away the pitch man, they might be in better shape.
They might do it right here.
They'll go for 2. Down 21-19. Jones on the draw. Did he? He did not. He stopped short. And South Carolina holds on to a 21-19 lead. What a defensive play.
Now remember, all the football has to do is cross the plane. They gave this play to the best player, Jones, and he's driving. Now, remember, he's going to lean right here. We can get a good shot from the ground level and see if any part of that ball hit across there. I can't tell from there, but that official, I got to give him credit. He was in perfect position to see that play.
There's a timeout. 9:58 left in the game. South Carolina by 2. 8 seconds to go from Lincoln, Nebraska. South Carolina 21, Nebraska 19. And while we were away, head coach Tom Osborne was really giving it to the officials about that 2-point conversion. The kickoff goes out of the end zone. South Carolina will start from its 20.
Remember, on this play here, Jones, number 6, has got to cross with the ball. His helmet crosses the goal line, but that doesn't count. The ball must cross the goal line.
Take a look from another angle. We have a flag down on the kickoff. We'll check that.
Here's the other angle. Now remember, the ball must cross, not any other part of his body. Now it looks like right there that his head goes across, but I'm not so sure the ball does.
Now, I didn't think he made it in. His knee went down between the 2 and the 3 yard line, and the ball was not over at that point, so it can't count. And we'll check the penalty here as Jones with officially 96 yards. They're talking to Nebraska, so you have to assume the penalty was against South Carolina. And you have to wonder, how complicated can this be? Maybe it's a trick question.
Maybe it's a split crew, and the guys for South Carolina are saying one way, and the other guys are saying the other way. I've had that happen to me. I've had a fumble, and the guy said, "Our ball." And I said, "I think we're going to lose this game."
And you did.
You got it.
Well, they're sorting it out now.
There's a personal foul, tripping against the receiving team. 15-yard penalty, will re-kick.
Tripping means exactly what you say. You cannot lay out and throw your leg and try to trip a guy. That's a 15-yard penalty. And what's going to happen now, they're going to kick off the ball from the 50-yard line.
All right, quickly, let me ask you a question. Would you try an onside kick?
Absolutely not. I tell you why. Because South Carolina's got a great offense when you're behind, but it's not a real good offense when you're ahead. You know why? Because you got to throw the ball. And out of 3 things going to happen when you throw it, 2 of them are bad. So it's very difficult for very difficult for the run and shoot team to protect the lead because they can't be conservative.
Right. Now, I am assuming that there was no choice on this penalty because South Carolina would have already had the ball at the 20, so Nebraska would have no reason to kick it again. It was one of those automatic deals. And South Carolina just keeping its deep men 5 or 10 yard line. They don't expect to have a chance to touch this. Drennan kicking off, floats it high, and they'll just let this one go out of the end zone. So once again, South Carolina will start from the 20-yard line. 9:58 left in the game. The Gamecocks lead by 2 over second-ranked and undefeated Nebraska. This has been a dandy. Ellis comes out 14 out of 25, 211 yards.
Well, there's a lot of pressure on Ellis right now because not only does he have to throw the ball straight, he has to keep from getting an interception, and the crowd is going crazy.
Well, he had a tough first quarter, but he's been hot. 6 out of his last 7 and 160 yards. They run the option. Here comes the end around to Bethea again. This time he's tripped up in the backfield by Tim Robin, number 78. They were burned once. They weren't going to be burned again, and there's a flag down.
The flag is on number 99, Neil Smith, for spearing and hitting Bethea after the play. Watch.
it doesn't make any sense at all to go and do that.
Well, it was now wait, it's a questionable call. Watch, Rother, number 78, makes a good play. Number 99 is chasing a play. I'm not so sure he knew the guy was down, and all of a sudden, wow.
Oh. Come on, Coach. A little late.
Well, depends on what.
I mean, he's got time to get up and get a cup of coffee.
You know what it is? He's going to be a first-round draft choice next year in the NFL. He's just getting ready one year early.
Get him a picket sign then. Big penalty moves the ball out to the 31-yard line. Took a 5-yard loss and turned it into an 11-yard gain. Delay to Bing. He lost the ball. Nebraska has it. Jeff Tomjack recovers. Keith Bing inserted as a running back, and I had not seen Bing in on an offensive series before. He may have been, but I had not seen it.
They give the ball to Bing, the tailback right there. He started to run the ball, and number 38, Forks, makes a good tackle and strips it. Now, number 11, Tomjack, comes up and gets it. Now, Nebraska will immediately go to an all-out ground assault, like General Patton in the tanks. Ooh, watch them.
9:24 to go in the game. Nebraska down by 2, but they're already in field goal territory at the South Carolina 27. The question is, how many times can the Gamecocks hold on defense? Heibel. McKernan brings him down, but not before he reaches the 21.
What you've seen is a classic example of power just wearing out a guy. It's like a 15-round fight championship. The guy has won 10 rounds, but here comes Nebraska, the heavyweight champion, in the 4th period. Boom. They keep hitting it. They keep hitting it. They sooner or later wear you down.
2nd and 4 after Heibel gains 6. Jones, big hole in the middle, cuts it back to the outside, down to the 12, maybe the 11-yard line. They're just eating him up in the middle.
He's playing. He's the fastest player ever to play here, but he's just playing awful hard right now. He gets a good block by number 12, Bateman, as he breaks the tackle by number 42, Diggs, and he's driving. You'll say, what has happened to South Carolina? Nothing. It's the same guys. They're playing with the same heart. It's the guys in red are bigger and stronger, and they're starting to lean on them.
Jones has rushed for 121 yards. Heibel for 82. We have a timeout with 8:23 to go in the ball game. Nebraska stops the clock. We'll be back in a moment.
See 2 Heisman favorites. Lars Tate, the SEC's top ground gainer, leads Georgia against LSU. Then Tim Brown and the Fighting Irish take on Pitt. Live Saturday on the ESPN.
Be with us next Saturday. That's Lars Tate, one of the nation's top rushing leaders. Georgia against LSU. And then Heisman Trophy candidate Tim Brown will take 5th-ranked Notre Dame against the Panthers of Pittsburgh. What a game this is. 8:23 to go. Nebraska 1st and 10 at the South Carolina 12. They are down by 2 points. They give it to the wingback, Richard Bell. And Bell down to the 4-yard line. And Richard Bell, the 4th man on the depth chart at that position, has really had a great game.
He's playing very well. And I tell you what, 62 Sledge has impressed me on its ability to trap and pull. He's a big tackle, but he came around again. Now, Osborne is thinking right here, we got to drive it in, but whatever we do, we're not going to throw the football, because if nothing else, we'll kick 3 and get ahead 22-21.
The way they're running it now, they don't have to throw it anymore. 2nd and 2 from the 4. Jones. Touchdown, Nebraska. They have have done exactly what you said they should do, Lee. They have gone to what they do best and are dominating right now.
Now McCormick 61-57. Leitner open a big hole, and there goes Jones in, and 27 Edwards and 25 Philbot. Those two great defensive backs have been banging people. Just can't quite get there. But I tell you what, this is absolutely 100% the kind of football Nebraska played when I coached against them the 4 times.
They'll go for 2, leading 25-21. Jones on the toss. 2 points, Nebraska.
When in doubt, you go to your best football players. Keith Jones is coming out to be a star. Watch 65 Andy Keeler pull. At 265 pounds, he knocks down a half of the South Carolina line. 2 points, Nebraska.
7:38 left in this game. Nebraska has shown a lot of grit coming from behind to take the lead over South Carolina, 27-21. That's Chris Drennan who will kick it off to Sterling Sharp and Harden Brown waiting at their own goal line. Sharp will let it go. Nebraska with the wind here in the 4th quarter. South Carolina will be throwing into it.
A good blocking on the right side. 61 McCormick just cleans out the right side. 87 Banderas blocks out the right corner, and in goes Jones for the touchdown.
Nebraska with 161 yards rushing in the second half after being held below 100 in the first half. And you have the feeling that South Carolina defense is just dog-tired right now.
Absolutely, but remember, South Carolina offense is not tired. And they've got exactly the same kind of offense that they need to come from behind.
They're down by 6. Ellis. Plenty of time. Throws complete to Bethea at the 30-31 yard line. Brought down by Mike Blazek, the safety. And Leroy Etienne comes up to help. But it's a first down, South Carolina.
Bethea gets right off the ground real good. Bethea, watch him. Ellis throws the ball straight, but watch him get real high and looking into his hands. Anytime you get a pass-receiving team like this, the thing I like about it is as soon as he caught the ball, he turned it upfield and became a running back.
Well, he knew he'd get popped, too, having to go that high to get it. Ellis trying to lead his club from behind to spring the big upset. 3-man rush. Going deep, throwing into the wind for Bethea, who made the catch. Oh, and now they say he juggled it, was out of bounds.
Now, let me go over the rule with you so you understand. As he goes down the sideline, remember, all he needs is 1 foot in, but he must control the football with that 1 foot in. Now, he's going down the right side. He's got number 8, Hicks, covering him. The ball is thrown. Watch. He's got his foot in, but the ball is juggled. Now, I don't know if the call is good or not, but I tell you what, the official was in perfect position. As you see, the official right there, you never argue with an official that's that good in that good a position.
Good call. 2nd and 10 instead of a big play. And Bethea is great in a crowd. 3-man rush again. Ellis throws and throws too high for Danny Smith. And Ellis has been high on the last 3 or 4 short passes that he's thrown.
The reason he was high that time, he had to get high over 6'1", 270-pound Lawrence Peak, number 75, was breathing right down his throat. He got good pressure on him.
Ball's at the 31. Big play here, 3rd and 10.
The difference between Nebraska right now, they're playing with a little bit more enthusiasm. They've got to put the pressure on Ellis or they'll never stop him.
Right in motion. 4-man rush. Ellis with time. Throws complete to Smith. It's a first down to the Nebraska 45-yard line. Danny Smith, the senior out of Atlanta, Georgia, 26 yards on the play.
What a great throw by Ellis. He steps in that pocket. Remember, he's going to get a lot of pressure on him. He stepped in and delivered it. Nice high, good hands by Smith, number 41. Remember I told you, you'll see good passing teams, they catch the ball in their hands. There's an example right there of Smith, an example before of Bethea. Good catch, good receivers.
Clock becoming a factor, 6:39 and turning. Four-man rush, they've got him. Loose ball, but I think he was down, and he was. And it's Broderick Thomas who made the sack. They came with a 4-man charge that time.
Thomas, number 89, came from the blind side, which means it's the opposite side from where the quarterback can see, and therefore you can't avoid him. Now watch, Ellis is going to his left. He does not see Thomas, number 89, until it's too late. He strips the ball loose, but he was down. And number 96 recovered the ball. Pete,
that was close to being a fumble.
I'm glad they don't have instant replay on the scoreboard.
We have had some tough calls today. 2nd and 18. And wide open again is Smith. 5 red jerseys take him down. There is a flag down at midfield as they reach the Nebraska 38. And a couple of the South Carolina players are applauding as the flag goes down. Smith, who was under about 1,200 pounds on that tackle, gets up a little slower.
Whatever the penalty is going to be, remember, it's going to be 4th down and 1 if they...
We're holding against the defense has declined. Pass is complete. 1st down.
Wait a minute.
Well, now they're saying 1st down, and it's not a 1st down.
I don't think it's a 1st down. Wait a minute. I think he's going to have to take the automatic 1st down.
That's right. They'll have to take the 5 yards for the holding and the 1st down rather than the big play.
Absolutely.
Or they face a 3rd and a short situation.
Well, they're going to be very. It's going to be exciting here. But I would take the penalty and the 1st down. I know I got that.
I would too. Because this offense can get you the 10 yards back in a hurry.
But it can't get you the 1 yard real good.
That's right.
Referee's mistake. The holding against the defense was before the pass was thrown. The penalty is accepted. It will be 10 yards and the 1st down.
10 yards in the 1st down. And that's the first time I have ever heard an official say, referee's mistake.
You know why?
He deserves a hand.
No, that's Richard Schmidt. You know where? And he became an official in 1970. He did the University of Louisville scrimmage games, coached by myself.
Well, hats off to Richard Schmidt.
He's well trained, that's right.
And he's honest. So it's a 1st down at the Nebraska 45. 5:43 to go in the game. They start the clock. South Carolina down by 6. Sharp, who hasn't been much of a factor lately. 4-man rush. Here they come. Rother chasing. The pass complete to Bethea. Bethea to the 35-yard line. And Ellis just right on target out of the run and shoot.
Ellis was being chased that time by number 78, Tim Rother. But I tell you what, that was a great play. Now watch Bethea go down the field. He'll do a little curl hook, and then what they say is he finds the open spot. See him? Find the open spot, catch it with your hands, bring it in, and protect yourself because you're going to get hit, young man. And he did.
Bethea's a good receiver. Excellent. And Ellis now 16 out of 30, 256 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. 1st down, yes.
The score 27-21. They could score and kick 1 and go ahead 28-27.
That's it. And that's what this sellout crowd here in Lincoln is afraid of. The situation very similar to last year when South Carolina down by 3 was driving and the pass was intercepted deep in Nebraska territory to stop the drive. White in motion. And South Carolina's offensive line moves. That was Paul Shivers. Mark Fryer, number 78, the right tackle who moved. An interesting Harold Green back in at the running back position. Keith Bing, who was in there with that costly fumble, has not reappeared.
Green is an outstanding player. He was the most valuable player in a high school all-star game in South Carolina. He set the all-time record for 4 touchdowns in the all-star game. He was a highly recruited athlete.
1st and 15, Gamecocks at the Nebraska 40. This drive has taken a lot of time off the clock. We're down to 4:46. Ellis wants it all on this one for Bethea, and it's out of bounds. Excellent coverage by Lorenzo Hicks. Brian Washington was also back there.
Remember the top of the show I told you that yesterday they practiced more long passes than I ever seen them. They must think they could beat number 8 Hicks or number 7 Clayton deep, and they're trying and trying again. Bethea goes back, and Hicks makes a good defensive play. Bethea is probably the best all-around athlete they got because of his size. He's 6'3", 208 pounds, so he gets isolated on their small defensive backs.
And if it's two guys going for the ball, you can almost always count on him getting it. 2nd and 15. Rother. And he's got him for a big, big sack. The Big H leading sack man comes through with a giant play that time. And Neil Smith is the Nebraska player that's down.
On the top of your picture, you see Rother. He'll move and he'll beat point set number 72 to the outside, and from then on, it's all over. Now, what happens right now is it's 2nd down and long, and with the kind of offense that South Carolina has, as we're looking at Smith, who's down, they can come back and boom, boom, they'll make it in 2 plays.
We have a timeout here in Lincoln. 4:21 to go in the ball game. It's Nebraska by 6. We apologize. They ran that third play while we were away in commercial, and what happened, it was an incomplete pass, wasn't even close, but Willie Griffin, number 84, roughed the quarterback on the throw. What a huge break for South Carolina.
The biggest thing about it is an automatic first down. Now South Carolina's got 4 more shots at it.
With 3:59 left in the game. It's been a game of big plays and big penalties. 1st and 10, South Carolina, Nebraska 40. Four-man rush. They drop it to Green, and he dropped it. And there's another flag down. Flags have come in groups in this ball game.
There's a penalty flag on the flag.
Motion against the offense.
Motion against South Carolina. Probably rather have the play.
Yeah, because
2nd and 10.
Sure, because 5 yards to a run and shoot is like nothing. To a ball control team, it's a big play, but it's 2nd down and 10 is better than 1st down and 15.
You would think they declined the penalty officially. You would think a passing team would be able to make more effective use of the clock, but they complete a lot of those short passes, and the clock is really being eaten up. We're down to 3:54. It looks like if they don't get it here, they don't get it.
Yeah, but they got a key factor. There's 3 timeouts left.
Yep, and Nebraska only has 1. 2nd and 10. Four-man rush. Ellis just got it away, and it's intercepted. Picked off by Mark Blazek. Blazek to the 40, 35, 30-yard line. There are no flags down. That play will stand. The 3rd interception of Todd Ellis. And Mark Blazek, who was number 7 on the depth chart last spring, makes the big play.
He overthrows Bethea, number 1, and all of a sudden, there comes Blazek up the middle. Now, the reason why that was an interception, he rolled to his left, and he tried to throw it cross arm. Now, Blazek does a good thing here by protecting the football. You see that? That's a fundamental thing with your no coach. That's an outstanding play. Now, Nebraska, with 1 timeout, will run the ball every play and force South Carolina to use those 3 timeouts up.
And a field goal would put them up by 9. Jones to the 25-yard line. South Carolina will not stop the clock right here. It will be 2nd and 6, and Nebraska will squeeze every second out of that clock.
We used to have a drill called a 2-hand drill. Anytime it was a situation like this, whomever touches the ball, puts 2 hands on it, we don't care if you make an extra yard, just don't cough it up.
And the defense, on the other hand, first man makes the tackle, everybody else for the ball.
Absolutely.
2nd and 6, 3 minutes, 7 seconds left. Draw to Jones. And they've got him at the line of scrimmage, pinned easily by Kevin Hendricks as he got back to the 25. 2:53 to go. It's going to be 3rd and 6.
Third down.
$1 the last year, and they were the first one in the nation to break the $1 million barrier.
Our Volvo players of the game for South Carolina, Todd Ellis, who's thrown for 256 yards and 2 touchdowns, kept his club in the ballgame along with a great defensive effort. And Keith Jones of Nebraska, 129 yards, which gets him up to 400 yards in 4 games, 2 touchdowns, and Keith Jones owned the 4th quarter here in Lincoln. 3rd and 10, South Carolina. Ellis, and that was Jeff Jamrog, who records yet another sack for Nebraska. 6 sacks on the day, and their defense just got stronger and stronger.
Well, what happens at the game that Jamrock hasn't been in the ball game much. All of a sudden, he comes in to make a great play because he's fresh. And that's what happens when you get tired. And what happened to South Carolina, they played a great game. They had a great game plan. They did everything right, except the players weren't big enough and strong enough to keep that 4th quarter avalanche by the Nebraska Cornhuskers from happening.
The tank goes empty sometimes.
That's right.
4th down, last gasp. Ellis dumps it off to Green, and that's the 3rd time that Green has looked downfield before he bothered to catch the football. And South Carolina's offensive chances are over with 1:11 to go. Clete Blakeman is going to come back in the ball game as the Nebraska quarterback. Timeout, 1:11 to go. We'll be back to wrap it up in a moment. Live presentation of CFA football has been brought to you by UPS. Whether it's for overnight letters or packages, UPS runs the tightest ship in the shipping business. By Slim Jim, America's favorite meat snack, now in the snack section of your supermarket. And by GTE. GTE. I always wanted to say that. 1:11 to go in the ball game, and Nebraska has earned a hard-fought victory over South Carolina. They're up 30-21. They've taken over on downs. Clete Blakeman is in there at quarterback. Ken Clark is the tailback behind Micah Heibel. And Blakeman will go down to one knee. Now, the crowd doesn't like it, but I think that is a classy call by Tom Osborne.
Let me tell you something. Tom Osborne has won 140 games. He's the 3rd winningest active coach in the NCAA with 810% behind Switzer and Paterno. He's doing the right thing right there.
That is a class call right there. He doesn't want to rub it in. All he wants to do is run out the clock. Coming up right after this game, 18th ranked Florida against number 8 LSU, live from Baton Rouge.
You know who's booing? The people that gave 10 points.
They're up by 9, and they may have to be satisfied with it. 31 seconds to go. Now Blakeman will give it off, and that's Clark, the tailback, the I-back, and he breaks it. Clark falls at the 2-yard line. Ken Clark, the sophomore from Omaha, couldn't keep his balance. And I think the reason they ran a play instead of having the quarterback go down on one knee is because South Carolina came after the quarterback on the first play.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you what they did. They ran a young man to give him experience, too.
Yep.
Now watch 32, Ken Clark. They must have an army of the guys. He bangs into 42 and keeps going all the way. Look at it, he almost gets a touchdown.
14 seconds left. Will Nebraska get off a play? It looks like it. Clark. He'll get to the 3, and that's it. Nebraska, 2nd ranked and undefeated, really wins a nail-biter. They come back in the 4th quarter to score 20 points and beat South Carolina 30-21. Tom Osborne wins his 141st game, and Joe Morrison suffers a very, very tough defeat. Steve Taylor really banged up.